Chapter 2482. Looking at the black token in his hands, Longao was curious. He did not know what Zhou Feng meant by giving him this. On the front of the black token was a single word, kill. Behind it was a drawing of a skull. Longao did not know what this was. But when the other four looked at the black token in Longao's hands, their faces changed. Killing token? Killing token? What was that? Longao looked at the four of them curiously. Looking at the killing token, the four of them kept their distance from Zhou Feng, as though they were wary of him. Zhou Feng, to think that you would be from the slaughtering race. Slaughtering race? Slaughtering race? Hearing Gang Mu's words, Longao was stunned. He knew what the killing token in his hands meant. If that was the case, didn't that mean that Zhou Feng was a member of the slaughtering race? Of course, Longao knew what it meant to be a member of the slaughtering race. In the vast universe, there were a total of 6 races. They ruled over the universe, and no one dared to offend them. The 6 races were the human race, dragon race, underworld race, mouse race, slaughtering race, and mysterious race. The slaughtering race was known to use killing as a catalyst. Back then, they had created countless bloody storms in the universe. For a period of time, the slaughtering race was invincible, but eventually there was no other way. The human race, dragon race, underworld race, and mouse race worked together to suppress the slaughtering race. The mysterious race had always been the most mysterious race, and almost never appeared in the universe. If the 4 races had to work together to suppress the slaughtering race, one could imagine how strong the slaughtering race was. Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. Looking at the shocked faces of everyone, Zhou Feng seemed to be satisfied with their attitude. He reared his head back and laughed out. As a member of the slaughtering race, he was proud to be a member of the slaughtering race. Looking at Zhou Feng's maniacal laughter, the faces of the 4 of them darkened. Jin Chun said coldly, Zhou Feng, even though the 4 races no longer view the slaughtering race as an enemy, but he waved his hand. Zhou Feng did not give Jin Chun the chance to continue. He interrupted, stop wasting my time. If it weren't for the 4 races working together back then, our Slaughter clan would have become the ruler of the vast universe long ago. We'll settle this debt sooner or later. The 4 of them were extremely wary of the Slaughter clan. No matter what, the strength of the Slaughter clan was obvious. Zhou Feng, if you reveal your identity, do you think you can still leave here alive? The attitude of the 4 of them was very clear. Although the Slaughter clan had disappeared for many years, as long as they encountered a member of the Slaughter clan, it would be best to kill them. Especially with Zhou Feng's strength, if they did not eliminate him completely, there would definitely be endless trouble in the future. Did Zhou Feng care? Thinking about it, if Zhou Feng cared about this matter, he would not casually reveal his identity. He smiled. Zhou Feng said coldly, do you think I care about you? The more Zhou Feng acted like this, the more fearful the 4 of them became. They naturally knew how troublesome this matter was. If Zhou Feng did not have full confidence, how could he so easily reveal his identity? Fight? Or not? If it was any other time, the 4 of them would definitely not hesitate to attack. In the face of the Slaughter clan, they had to be united. However, the situation now was a little special. If they attacked Zhou Feng and both sides suffered losses, wouldn't that be letting Longao take advantage of it? Then, Longao would be able to reap the benefits. Both sides were in a stalemate. Zhou Feng ignored the 4 of them. Instead, he looked at Longao and said with a smile, Longao, you should know how powerful the slaughtering clan is. I can promise you that as long as you hand over the treasure in your hands, I will bring you back to the slaughtering clan later. With the help of the slaughtering clan, we will be able to survive. Zhou Feng did not continue speaking. However, the meaning of his words was very clear. Would Longao choose to compromise? If it was anyone else, they might have chosen to compromise because of Zhou Feng's deterrence. However, if Longao chose to compromise, then he would not be Longao. Longao smiled and said indifferently, Zhou Feng, whether you are from the Slaughter clan or not has nothing to do with me. As for the treasure in my hand, it has nothing to do with you. If you want my things, I advise you to go home and sleep. See if you can dream of it. Longao's meaning was very clear. He was not willing to hand over the treasure. However, after thinking about it, it was understandable. Such a heaven-defying treasure, not to mention Longao. No matter who it was, they would not hand it over easily. It was too ridiculous. Zhou Feng was not angry at all. Instead, he smiled and said, Longao, I believe you know about the soul search. However, I can tell you one more thing. Our slaughter clan has a secret technique that can let us know what we want to know. As for you, you will suffer a fate worse than death. I believe you do not want to see such an outcome. A threat. A blatant threat. Longao ignored such a threat. He sneered and said, Zhou Feng, don't talk nonsense with me. If you want my treasure, you have to kill the 4 of them first. Then we can talk. How about it? Kill the 4 of them? It was easier said than done. Even if Zhou Feng believed in his own strength, he was very clear that it was almost impossible for him to kill the 4 of them by himself. Before Zhou Feng could speak, Longao had already disappeared. The rest of the matter was their business. Of course, Longao knew about this matter. Of course, he hoped that the 2 sides would kill each other. If both sides could be injured, then for him, it would be completely beneficial. At that time, he could even reap the benefits of the fishermen. Whether it was Gang Mu, or Zhou Feng, they all knew clearly what Longao meant. Even if they knew Longao's intention, both sides were still a little restless. A battle could break out at any time. Zhou Feng's face was filled with impatience. Since his identity had been exposed, there was no point in continuing to pretend. As for starting a battle, Zhou Feng was no fool. If he started a battle now, it would be very disadvantageous for him. He could not let Longao take advantage of him. His most important task was to obtain Longao's treasure, as well as the primal chaos force and secret realm. You guys are the last to scram. My target is not you. You'd better not provoke me. Otherwise, be careful of your lives. Zhou Feng coldly looked at the 4 of them. His killing intent surged and engulfed the 4 of them. It was very fearful. The 4 of them looked at Zhou Feng in shock. At this moment, Zhou Feng's aura was very powerful. Chapter 2483. In a one-on-one fight, none of the 4 were Zhou Feng's match. Zhou Feng was indeed from the Slaughter clan. Attack? Or give up? The 4 of them were not fools. They knew very well that if they did not attack now, they might not even be able to leave this plane alive, let alone snatching the chaotic energy. They sneered. How could Zhou Feng not know what the 4 of them were thinking? Do the 4 of you want to attack? Seeing that the 4 of them did not speak, Zhou Feng continued, I can give you a chance. The 4 of you attack together, regardless of life or death. How about it? The more Zhou Feng acted like this, the more the 4 of them were afraid. If they won the bet, then everything would be fine. What if they lost the bet? Zhou Feng dared to do this because he was confident. If they attacked rashly, they would not even have the chance to regret it. At this moment, Gangmu suddenly smiled and said, Zhou Feng, there is no grudge between us. There is no need to fight to the death. Why don't we deal with Longao together? We can split the loot equally. How about that? Shaking his head, Zhou Feng's face was full of sarcasm. He smiled and said, we can't split equally. I only have one request. We each get half, and the other half will be divided among the 4 of you. This was too much. The 4 of them were angry but did not dare to say anything. They were already afraid of Zhou Feng. No matter how much Zhou Feng crossed the line, they believed that the 4 of them would not dare to say anything. The 4 people's faces were very gloomy, as ugly as they could be. What should they do? The 4 of them knew that if they chose to compromise, then they would have no way to survive in the future. They would be completely dominated by Zhou Feng. This was something that they did not want to see. You are not willing? Seeing that the 4 of them did not speak, Zhou Feng snorted and said coldly, if you are not willing, then all of Longao's items will belong to me. Zhou Feng, aren't you a little too much? The 4 of them took a step forward. Their intention was clear. Murderous aura swept out fiercely. Murderous aura filled the air. Zhou Feng did not care at all. He chose to ignore them and looked at the 4 of them coldly. The 4 of you, the winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. Whoever is stronger will have the final say. Zhou Feng's words were right. In the vast starry sky, strength reigned supreme, and the strong reigned supreme. Whoever was stronger would have the final say. Of course, The four of them knew this. However, they were unwilling to admit it. If Zhou Feng were to do it alone, there would only be one outcome for them, a tragic death. Zhou Feng, we have to admit that you are indeed very powerful. If we were to fight one-on-one, none of us would be a match for you. However, if we were to fight 4 against 1, how confident are you that you can successfully kill us? Hearing this, Zhou Feng's face instantly darkened. Of course, Zhou Feng knew what the 4 of them meant. Just as the 4 of them said, if it was a one-on-one fight, he could ignore anyone. However, if it was a 1-on-4 fight, even if he was strong, it was impossible to kill all 4 of them. If it was before, Zhou Feng would have definitely made a move. Even if he knew that it was impossible to kill all 4 of them, he would still fight. But now, the situation was very special. If he were to forcefully take action, not to mention whether he could successfully kill the 4 of them, just the fact that Longao was involved would benefit Longao. He definitely could not do such a thing. Seeing Zhou Feng's reaction, the 4 of them laughed. Let's split it evenly. The 4 of them did not want to go head-to-head with Zhou Feng. They only wanted to fight for the benefits that they deserved. As for dealing with Zhou Feng, that was a matter for the future. Zhou Feng did not speak. He just stood there quietly. Each of them had to rely on their own ability. At this time, any more words would be useless. If they wanted to fight for more benefits, then it would depend on their own strength. Strength determined everything. In the Primal Chaos Palace, both sides did not start a fight. Longao was not surprised. As long as the 5 of them were not stupid, he believed that they would not casually start a fight. After all, he was still involved in this matter. Whether it was the 4 of them or Zhou Feng, they were all afraid that he would reap the benefits. Otherwise, the outcome would be different. Longao was also helpless. Because the 5 of them were guarding the Black Vortex, it was not easy for him to step into the Black Vortex. What should he do? At such a distance, even if he used Starry Sky Control, he could at most trigger the space crack in the Black Vortex. It was impossible to test whether he could successfully enter the Black Vortex. It was impossible for him to sit here and wait for death. If that was the case, he would only be wasting his time. After thinking about it, Longao could not think of a good way. One left, one right. The 4 of them and Zhou Feng were guarding the Black Vortex. The 5 of them were almost certain that as long as the 5 of them were guarding here, Longao would definitely appear. This was a problem without a doubt. Time passed by bit. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Just as the 5 of them were continuing to guard the Black Vortex, the situation suddenly changed. The Black Vortex that had appeared before slowly began to merge. Yes, it was merging. Looking at the Black Vortex in front of them slowly merging, the 5 of them could only be anxious. They did not dare to take a step forward. The 5 of them knew very well what the space crack meant. Without full confidence, they did not dare to take a step forward. If they were not careful, the consequences would be unimaginable. They could only watch the Black Vortex merge. There was nothing they could do. What was going on? If the Black Vortex disappeared, it would be unknown if they could continue to lock onto the location of the chaotic force, let alone enter it to obtain the chaotic force. Under the situation where the 5 of them did not dare to step into the Black Vortex, the Black Vortex had completely merged and returned to normal in just a few minutes. The 5 of them did not dare to hesitate and immediately began to lock onto the vortex. However, no matter how they locked onto it, they could not lock onto the location of the chaotic force. The more they locked onto it, the uglier their faces became. It was clearly in front of them before, but they did not dare to step in. Now, they regretted it. They wanted to step in, but there was no chance. They were filled with regret. Longao, come out. There was no response. Without Longao's lock-on, the 5 of them could not lock onto the chaotic force. The more they thought about it, the angrier they became. However, no matter how unwilling and angry they were, things had already come to this point. Other than being helpless, there was nothing they could do. Longao did not respond at all. The 5 of them could not do anything because under such circumstances, they could not lock onto the chaotic force. They could not even lock onto the Longao. Chapter 2484. Within the Primal Chaos Palace. Longao wasn't surprised by the fusion of the black vortex as he had already guessed it. If the black vortex didn't fuse, anyone could lock onto the primal chaos force. It was nonsense to think about it. Since he could lock onto it the first time, he could lock onto it the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, the sixth time. That was the case. Longao wasn't worried at all. The five of them were still guarding the black vortex. Even if the black vortex had fused, they believed that the primal chaos force wouldn't leave. As long as they locked onto this place, they would have a chance when Longao appeared. But the result? Longao had successfully sensed that the position of the primal chaos force had changed after the fusion of the black vortex. Longao had already guessed that every time the primal chaos force opened and fused, it would change its position. After a few days of locking onto it, Longao once again locked onto the position of the primal chaos force. This time, Longao didn't alert anyone. He used all his strength and even used the primal chaos axe. After a few hundred slashes, the primal chaos force was finally split open. The black vortex appeared again. Within the black vortex, countless space cracks appeared crazily. It looked extremely terrifying. Without any hesitation, he decided to end the battle quickly. The entire valley wasn't very big. No one knew when the five of them would appear. If the five of them rushed over, it would be troublesome. Because of this, Longao immediately used Starry Sky Control to see if he could enter the black vortex with it. He used Starry Sky Control. This way, the space cracks in the black vortex wouldn't be drawn out, and he would be much safer. He was overjoyed. Longao relied on Starry Sky Control to enter the black vortex smoothly. The reason why Longao dared to step into the black vortex wasn't because he had Starry Sky Control. His real reliance was the so-called Primal Chaos Palace. It was because of the Primal Chaos Palace that Longao had full confidence. Even if he were to face danger in the black vortex, he believed that he could escape successfully once he hid in the Primal Chaos Palace. Without the Primal Chaos Palace, even Longao wouldn't have dared to casually step into the Primal Chaos Palace just by grasping the starry sky. Longao, it's broken. Hearing the loud noise, the five of them rushed over as fast as they could, just in time to see Longao stepping into the black vortex. The expressions of the five people changed completely. What he was afraid of really came true. He was afraid that the black vortex would shift its position after merging. Now, it had really shifted its position. In the end, it was Longao who was playing tricks. What the five of them were really worried about was that Longao would step into the black vortex. If he succeeded in devouring the primal chaos energy and became the sovereign lord of the starry sky, then none of them would be a match for him. Seeing Longao step into the black whirlpool, the five of them could only stop in their tracks. The five people's faces were very gloomy. The anger in his heart erupted like a volcano, and he wished he could tear Longao into pieces. What should we do now? What else can we do? We just hope Longao doesn't devour the primal chaos energy. Otherwise, when he becomes the sovereign lord of the starry sky, we'll really be finished. If it were anyone else, the five of them wouldn't believe that anyone could devour the primal chaos energy. But the situation was different now. Others couldn't step into the crack in the starry sky, but Longao had smoothly stepped into it. This alone was something no one else could do. Not only that, it was better to be safe than sorry. If Longao really did devour the primal chaos energy in the black vortex, then after becoming the sovereign lord of the starry sky, not to mention the five of them, even 9 half-step sovereigns wouldn't be a match for Longao. The only thing we can do now is to guard this place. Once Longao appears, whether he devours the primal chaos energy or not, we have to work together to eliminate him. We have to cut the weeds and pull up the roots to prevent future trouble. The other four didn't have the slightest objection to Zhou Feng's suggestion. Inside the black vortex, Longao used the primal chaos axe in his hand and the divine ability to control the starry sky. He took one step after another. Step by step, he moved forward slowly and carefully. This was because Longao knew very well that he had to be very cautious. Otherwise, if he was careless, he would be doomed eternally. It was pitch black all around. Even with Longao's strength, he couldn't see the situation around him clearly. However, He could clearly sense that there were cracks in the starry sky everywhere. Fortunately, he had the Chaos Axe and the starry sky divine ability. Otherwise, once he stepped into the black vortex, he would undoubtedly die. If he could step into the black vortex smoothly, the 5 of them wouldn't only be guarding outside and not dare to take half a step in. Can't go on? After just 100 steps, Longao was shocked to find that he couldn't go on at all. Even if he wanted to force his way forward, it was impossible. The surrounding environment was very strange. He didn't encounter the so-called primal chaos energy at all. Could it be that this wasn't the location of the primal chaos energy? It could be said that he was extremely depressed. He had gone through so much trouble to enter this place. He didn't expect to directly devour the primal chaos energy. As long as he could borrow the primal chaos energy to increase the speed of refining the non-elemental primal chaos energy, it would be a blessing in disguise. However, there was clearly no primal chaos energy here. If that was the case, wouldn't he have made a wasted trip? Was he going to give up just like that? He was unwilling to give up. Longao obviously wasn't willing to give up just like that. Moreover, his intuition told him that the location he had locked onto was definitely correct. There was definitely primal chaos energy in the black vortex. It was just that he couldn't lock onto it. What should he do in this situation? With no other choice, Longao tried to release his Yuan spirit. However, as soon as it appeared, it was immediately attacked by the surrounding mysterious energy. If he hadn't retracted it in time, he would have been severely injured. Could the mysterious energy be the primal chaos energy? Longao knew very well that his Yuan spirit had just suffered a backlash from the mysterious energy. It was very likely that it was the primal chaos energy he had come to find this time. If that was really the case, his locking onto the primal chaos energy was correct. If that was the case, he couldn't give up. Before Longao could react, the primal chaos hall in his dantian suddenly refracted a mysterious energy. It was the mysterious energy that Longao had relied on to break through time and time again. Even now, Longao was unable to confirm whether the mysterious energy in the primal chaos hall was the so-called primal chaos energy. Chapter 2485. The mysterious energy from the primal chaos palace had just appeared. Waves of powerful energy appeared out of thin air in the surroundings. Without guessing, Longao already knew that the mysterious and powerful energy was 100% the so-called chaotic energy. He was overjoyed. Before Longao could think of a way to devour the primal chaos force, the situation suddenly changed. The power of primal chaos that appeared in the surroundings began to suppress Longao fiercely. Its power was extremely powerful. At this rate, he believed that he would be pulverized by the chaotic force in less than 10 minutes at most. The situation was very dangerous. What should he do? He didn't know if the mysterious force in the Primal Chaos Palace could fight against the Primal Chaos Force. Most importantly, Longao couldn't control the Primal Chaos Palace at all. He couldn't control the mysterious force reflected by the Primal Chaos Palace. Life and death were determined by fate. Whether he was dead or alive was still an unknown. However, Longao couldn't resist the suppression of the primal chaos force. In the end, he had no choice but to step into the primal chaos palace. Longao had full confidence in the power of the primal chaos palace. As long as he stepped into the primal chaos palace, even the primal chaos force couldn't lock onto him. As expected, the primal chaos force couldn't enter the primal chaos palace. At this moment, Longao finally heaved a sigh of relief. He couldn't go on like this. No matter what, he stepped into the black vortex to devour the primal chaos force. If he continued to stay in the primal chaos palace, when would it end? After thinking about it, Longao couldn't think of a good way to deal with the primal chaos force. He thought that he could use the mysterious force reflected by the primal chaos palace to suppress the primal chaos force. But now, it seemed that unless he could truly control this mysterious force, everything else was nonsense. He sat quietly in the primal chaos palace. Longao looked at the empty space around him. Until now, he still didn't know what kind of primal chaos palace was. The only thing he knew was that the primal chaos palace he had was very powerful. It could fight against the Starry Sky Ruler and the Primal Chaos Force. The mysterious force had disappeared without a trace. He did not continue to sit and wait for death. Longao was unwilling to give up so easily. It had not been easy for him to find chaotic force. If he chose to give up now, he would not even have the chance to regret it. He left the Primal Chaos Palace. The moment it appeared, Longao didn't hesitate at all. He immediately summoned the attributeless Chaos Stone Tablet. There was no doubt about that. No matter which Primal Chaos Stone Tablet it was, it definitely contained Primal Chaos energy. If his Elemental Chaos Stone Tablet could devour the surrounding Chaos energy, it might not be a bad thing. But what was the result? As the mysterious power of the Primal Chaos Palace disappeared, the surrounding Primal Chaos power also disappeared. He was depressed to the extreme. Longao had already guessed that the surrounding Primal Chaos force must have been summoned by the mysterious energy reflected by the Primal Chaos Palace. It would be one thing if he could casually mobilize the mysterious power. However, the current situation was very special. He was unable to control the mysterious power within the Primal Chaos Hall. As such, it was unknown when the mysterious power within the Primal Chaos Hall would appear. Strictly speaking, it would depend on luck. If his luck wasn't good, no one would know when the mysterious power would appear. If his luck was good, the mysterious power might appear in the next second. But even so, Longao did not sit and wait for death. If he were to continue waiting for the mysterious power within the Primal Chaos Palace, who knew how long he would have to wait? Using his finger as a sword, he used Starry Sky Mastery. At the same time, cracks began to appear in the surrounding space. Huff, 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 huff. Before Longao could react to it, the cracks in the surrounding space appeared because of his finger as a sword. They were many times stronger than the cracks that Longao had used. He was scared out of his wits. Just as Longao was prepared to enter the Primal Chaos Palace, he came to a stop. *CK it. If he were to continue being afraid of danger, when would he ever succeed? Especially under such circumstances, he had to give it a shot. Using the Starry Sky Mastery to create a barrier, he covered his entire body. If it were anyone else, they would definitely not dare to do this. After all, if they were the slightest bit careless, they would definitely die without a burial ground. However, Longao was not bothered in the least bit. The barrier created by the Starry Sky Mastery resisted against the surrounding power of Primal Chaos. In fact, Longao still had some doubts in his heart. This was because ever since he stepped into the Black Vortex, the chaotic energy that appeared around him didn't seem to be very fierce to him. Otherwise, he knew what the consequences would be just by thinking about it. Using the Starry Sky Mastery to break open the cracks, the power of Primal Chaos suddenly appeared in the surroundings. This time around, Longao did not hesitate as he started devouring the surrounding power of Primal Chaos. Of course, Longao did not devour the power of Primal Chaos directly. With his body as a medium, there was no way it could withstand the power of Primal Chaos. If he were to forcefully devour the power of Primal Chaos, there would only be a single outcome. His body would explode and he would die. Longao's greatest hope was the non-elemental Primal Chaos Stone Tablet and the Primal Chaos Palace. If even these two Starry Sky God artifacts could not withstand the power of Primal Chaos, then there was no doubt that he would have to leave the Black Vortex even if he was extremely unwilling to do so. Whether it was the non-elemental Primal Chaos Stone Tablet or the Primal Chaos Palace, they could not devour the power of Primal Chaos. Regardless of whether they succeeded or not, the two Starry Sky God artifacts did not move at all. This was what made Longao the most depressed. Even so, Longao did not choose to give up so easily. Next, he tried the so-called Primal Chaos Seal. In the end, it still ended in failure. All that was left was the Primal Chaos Axe. Everything depended on the Primal Chaos Axe. His last hope was the Primal Chaos Axe. Longao had already decided that if the Primal Chaos Axe still could not deal with the power of Primal Chaos, then he would leave the Black Vortex immediately. He would not stay here any longer to save himself some trouble. Longao held the Primal Chaos Axe in his hand and poured the power of his primal spirit into the Primal Chaos Axe. His heart was in a mess because even now, he was not sure if he could devour the power of Primal Chaos Axe. Would he be able to succeed? Just as Longao was waiting anxiously, the power of Primal Chaos in the surroundings began to appear wildly and surged towards the Primal Chaos Axe. Longao, who was holding the Primal Chaos Axe, was not attacked by the power of Primal Chaos Axe. He was only shocked because he had never thought that he could really devour the power of Primal Chaos Axe. It was simply a blessing in disguise. Chapter 2486. The Chaos Axe's appetite was huge. It devoured crazily. Longao was more and more shocked. Even the power of chaos could be swallowed so casually and in such a crazy manner. Thinking about it, one could imagine how powerful the Chaos Axe was. Since things had already come to this, Longao didn't care about anything else and just devoured it first. Originally, Longao thought that he would let the non-attributed Chaos Stone Tablet devour the power of chaos. But now, he never thought that the non-attributed Chaos Stone Tablet couldn't devour the power of chaos at all. Instead, the Chaos Axe devoured it so fiercely. Time flew by. In the blink of an eye, dozens of days had passed quietly. After devouring for more than 10 days, the Primal Chaos Axe gradually stopped. Before Longao had the time to be excited and agitated, the Primal Chaos Axe suddenly reflected a small text. At the front, there were 9 large black words, Chaos 9 Axes. Chaos 9 Axes? What was this? In an instant, Longao had already understood that the small text floating out of the Chaos Axe was a starry sky martial technique. Almost without guessing, Longao knew that the power of this Chaos 9 Axes was definitely not simple. He had obtained the Chaos Axe for a long time. For so long, he had never obtained any martial technique. Only now. It didn't appear earlier or later. If someone said that there wasn't something fishy, he wouldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death. He was pleasantly surprised to the extreme. Countless small words all entered Longao's mind. Just as Ao Long was about to merge the Primal Chaos 9 Axes, he was stunned. That was because the Primal Chaos 9 Axes in his mind had only appeared the first axe. The other 8 axes were all covered by a mysterious power. Even he could not break it. In this case, didn't it mean that he could only cultivate the first axe of the Chaos 9 Axes? He was happy for nothing. It was only the first axe of the 9 axes. Even if it was powerful, how powerful could it be? It was simply depressing to the extreme. Even so, Longao still didn't choose to give up casually. Intuition told him that the starry sky martial technique he had just obtained was definitely not simple. He would try to cultivate the first axe to see how powerful it was. Sitting directly on the ground, Longao began to quietly cultivate the first axe of the Chaos 9 Axes. The first of the Chaos 9 Axes was known as Hell's Devour. Originally, he had thought that with his talent and strength, it would be an easy matter for him to cultivate this simple axe. However, he had never thought that it would be so difficult to truly cultivate it. Longao was stubborn and would not give up easily, especially at a time like this. He could clearly feel that if he cultivated here, the speed of his cultivation would obviously increase. Furthermore, there were definitely 5 people standing guard outside. If he was able to successfully cultivate the first hatchet, his chances of success would increase even further. Thinking of this, Longao did not immediately leave the Black Vortex. He focused on cultivating the first of the 9 Chaos Axes, devouring hell. Outside the Black Vortex, as time slowly passed, the faces of the 5 people became more and more gloomy and ugly. There were only 2 outcomes for Longao to enter the Black Vortex. The first outcome was that Longao would not be able to withstand the destruction of the space cracks in the Black Vortex. The second outcome was that Longao would successfully devour the Chaos Force and become a starry sky dominator. Although the 5 people knew very well that the chances of Longao devouring the Chaos Force were very small, there were always exceptions. If Longao really did devour the Chaos Force and become a starry sky dominator, then everything would be too late. In front of a starry sky dominator, an ultimate starry sky immortal was not even worth trash. If Longao really became a starry sky dominator, then it would be a matter of minutes for him to kill the 5 of them. What should they do? No matter how anxious they were, things had already come to this, and the 5 of them were powerless. The more they thought about it, the angrier and more helpless they became. One wrong step had led to many wrong steps. The 4 of you, what should we do now? I believe you all know that if we are unlucky and Longao really devours the chaos force and becomes a starry sky dominator, then we will all die without a burial place. How could the other 4 not know what Zhou Feng was saying? What could they do even if they knew? Things had already happened, and it was impossible for them to enter the black vortex even if they wanted to. Even if they wanted to step into the black whirlpool now, it was already impossible because the black whirlpool had already started to merge yesterday. The 5 of them were almost certain that the direction of the entrance had changed. With just the 5 of them, it was impossible to lock onto the entrance. In this case, as long as Longao was lucky enough, wouldn't he really become a starry sky dominator and then leave the black vortex? If they were in his shoes, they would definitely do the same. The valley is only so big, and the situation now is very dangerous. Given our strength, with the coverage of our primordial spirits, we will be able to sense any location in less than a second. The 4 of them nodded at Zhou Feng's suggestion and did not object. Since things had come to this point, it seemed that this was the only way. No matter what happened, they could not let Longao become a starry sky dominator and leave here alive. In another place, the black boulder was still being refined by the chaos force. Miao Ling was guarding it tightly. Although she was worried about Longao's safety, she did not go because she knew very well that even if she went, she would not be able to help Longao. In fact, she might even implicate Longao. Since the 5 of them were not around, she might as well deal with the black boulder first. However, Miao Ling did not know when the secret realm in front of her would be refined. If it took too long, the 5 of them would not choose to give up so easily. As expected, in a short while, Miao Ling had already sensed the arrival of the 5 of them. Since things had come to this, it was impossible for her to fight the 5 of them alone. The meaning of the 5 people was actually very simple. That was, since they were guarding other places, they might as well guard here. On one hand, they could guard the secret realm. On the other hand, they could cover Longao's position. It was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. When the 5 of them arrived, they did not find any trace of Miao Ling. They were very curious because under normal circumstances, Miao Ling should be guarding here. However, this was not the main point, nor was it what they were most concerned about. There were only 2 things that they were most concerned about. One was when the secret realm would be refined by the chaos force, and the other was Longao's location. As long as Longao appeared, no matter the price, they would find a way to destroy Longao. Otherwise, when Longao truly refined the chaos force and became a starry sky dominator, it would be too late. They would never allow such a thing to happen. Chapter 2487. Inside the black vortex, Longao sat quietly on the ground, wholeheartedly cultivating the first axe of the Chaos 9 axes, which was the so-called Hell Devouring. It was easy to look at it, but it was quite difficult to cultivate it. In the blink of an eye, 3 months passed quietly. After cultivating for 3 months, Longao still hadn't succeeded. Strictly speaking, it could only be regarded as a beginner. Yes, just a beginner. Longao calculated that it would take him at least 100 years to truly cultivate the first axe, Hell Devouring. For starry sky cultivators, 100 years was just a blink of an eye. As long as one's cultivation base could break through the 7th cycle starry sky, one's lifespan would be quite long. It would be easy to live for tens of millions of years. Not to mention with Longao's current strength, a starry sky legend could live for tens of billions of years or even trillions of years without a problem. There was no other way. Because Longao knew very well that if he went out rashly, he would definitely be attacked by the 5 people. With his current strength, it was almost impossible to fight against 5 people and win against them. There was only one way. If his cultivation base could smoothly break through to the starry sky immortal realm and successfully cultivate the Chaos 9 axes, coupled with his other killing moves, his chances of winning against a peak starry sky immortal realm expert would be much higher. For so long, His cultivation base had been unable to break through, but Longao was full of confidence. With his talent, it shouldn't be difficult to break through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm from the Starry Sky Legend Realm in 100 years. Opening his eyes and looking at the pitch-black space around him, Longao's face was very helpless. The chaos force around him had been devoured by the Chaos Axe, so he could cultivate here with peace of mind. He had found that this place was a holy place for cultivation, which was very beneficial for his cultivation. Longao could be completely at ease while cultivating here because he could be sure that at this moment, the black vortex had merged. Even if the 5 people wanted to step in, it was impossible. Among the Chaos 9 axes, Longao could only cultivate the first axe. As for the second axe, third axe, fourth axe, fifth axe, sixth axe, seventh axe, eighth axe, and ninth axe, let alone cultivate, he couldn't even see the moves behind. He was helpless to the extreme. As for the power of the second to ninth chop, Longao had no idea. Left with no other choice, he could only practice the first axe. However, Longao was very clear about one thing. That was the so-called first axe of the 9 chaos axes. It would take at least 100 years to cultivate this axe. Moreover, it was still unknown whether one could succeed or not. It was hard to imagine. How long would it take to cultivate the last 8 moves? Several tens of thousands of years? Millions of years? Or hundreds of millions of years? Longao practiced the first axe of the Primal Chaos 9 axes while carefully studying the Primal Chaos axe. He wanted to know the origin of this Starry Sky divine weapon. Since the Chaos axe could devour the power of chaos, there was no doubt that the Chaos axe now possessed the power of chaos. It was easy to imagine the power of the Chaos axe. Longao tried to infuse the power of his primordial spirit into the Primal Chaos axe and tried to sense the Primal Chaos axe. There was no movement. Longao was very curious. He did not know where the power of chaos that had been devoured by the Chaos axe had gone. He vanished into thin air. What was going on? Even so, Longao did not choose to give up. He continued to use the power of his primordial spirit to slowly sense the power of chaos in the Chaos axe. However, he still could not sense the power of chaos. As for what was going on, Longao knew very well. If there was no accident, it must be that he was not strong enough to master the Chaos axe. Not to mention the power of chaos, the power of the Chaos axe alone was many times stronger than it was now. However, he could not control the Chaos axe and hence, the power of the Chaos axe was suppressed. Thinking of this, Longao did not continue to sense it. According to the situation, even if he continued to sense it, he believed that it would be a waste of time and it would be useless. The most important thing now was to cultivate the first axe of the 9 chaos axes as soon as possible. He also wanted to see how powerful the first axe, Hell Devour, was. He continued to cultivate the first axe, Hell Devour. Just like that, Longao did not leave the black whirlpool. He just sat quietly and cultivated the 9 chaos axes. Gradually, he slowly stood up from his sitting position and held the chaos axe in his hand. He began to practice the Hell Devour over and over again. The 9 chaos axes originally came from the Chaos axe. The power of the 9 chaos axes could not be exerted by other weapons. Only by using the Chaos axe and combining the 9 chaos axes could the power be exerted. Again, again, and again. According to Longao's speed, he could practice it tens of thousands of times a day. Moreover, Longao did not know fatigue at all. He practiced it over and over again. In the incomparably dark space, there was only Longao's figure. It was strange. With the power that Longao mastered, coupled with the power of the Chaos axe, if he practiced the 9 chaos axes without restraint, this place would have been destroyed long ago. But the result? No matter how Longao practiced the 9 chaos axes, the surrounding space did not move at all. It was not affected at all. One had to admit that the space here was indeed very strong. 10 years, Longao was still at the entry level. 20 years, Longao began to gradually improve from the entry level. He was able to master 1/5 of the power of Hell Devour. 30 years, Longao finally began to slowly understand the meaning of Hell Devour, and its power was greatly improved. 40 years, Longao's practice speed accelerated again. It even increased several times. What kind of concept was this? 50 years, Longao's practice speed had soared to a limit. At a glance, one could not even see his shadow. 60 years, Longao's practice speed did not increase. Instead, it began to slow down. 70 years, Longao's practice speed became slower and slower. In a day, he practiced at most 10 or 20 times. 80 years, Longao's practice speed slowed down to the limit. In a day, he practiced at most once. Sometimes, he did not even practice once. He just stood there motionless for the whole day. 90 years, Longao almost stopped practicing. Sometimes, he would only practice once in a few months. Moreover, as long as he used the Chaos Axe, the surrounding space would appear desolate. It gave people an indescribable feeling, as if they were in hell. Longao was completely unaware of this. 100 years passed in the blink of an eye. Chapter 2488. 100 years passed in the blink of an eye. The black rock still hadn't been refined by the primal chaos energy. The five of them waited anxiously. Longao hadn't appeared for 100 years. The five of them were almost certain that Longao had died in the black whirlpool. Because of this, after 100 years, the five of them had completely given up on Longao. Instead, they focused on the secret realm in front of them. Even if they couldn't obtain the primal chaos energy, they would devour this secret realm. Even if they couldn't become a space dominator, they would at least become a half-step space dominator. But the result? After 100 years, the secret realm still hadn't been refined by the primal chaos energy. In the distance, Miaoling didn't leave. Although the five of them believed that Longao had died in the crack in space, Miaoling didn't believe it. Her intuition told her that Longao was definitely not dead. Look, the secret realm is about to be refined. Right at this moment, Gangmu and the others suddenly discovered that the black rock before them had stopped refining. Moreover, the mysterious energy in the surroundings, the so-called chaotic force, had vanished without a trace. Even so, the five of them didn't dare to act rashly. If something happened to the black rock, wouldn't they lose more than they gained if they acted rashly? Miaoling slowly appeared, staring at the black rock. Even if she knew that she wasn't their match, she still insisted on snatching it. Neither the five of them nor Miaoling acted rashly. They just stared at it. After the black rock was refined, the heart of the secret realm would definitely be refined. No matter who it was, if they wanted to fuse with the secret realm, they had to first fuse with the heart of the secret realm. Otherwise, everything would be nonsense. The six of them were waiting for the heart of the secret realm. The secret realm has appeared. At this moment, a ray of black light suddenly shot out from the black rock. They couldn't see what it was, but it was very strange. The six of them were very clear that the ray of black light was definitely the heart of the secret realm. As long as they could obtain the ray of black light, they could fuse with the secret realm. Whether they could become a half-step space dominator or not, the secret realm was the key. The speed of the six of them soared to the extreme, all of them heading towards the black boulder. If it was before, the five of them would definitely team up to deal with Miaoling, four of them might even go against Zhou Feng. But now, with the appearance of the heart of the secret realm, the six of them each had their own ulterior motives. They all wanted to obtain the heart of the secret realm. Without a doubt, they would have to kill the others first before they could successfully obtain the heart of the secret realm. That was indeed the case. While the six of them were heading towards the secret realm, they couldn't care less about anything else and started fighting. Zhou Feng was the strongest and most powerful of the six. However, it was simply impossible for Zhou Feng to kill all five of them by himself. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Just as the six of them were charging towards the black boulder with all their might, a burst of wild laughter suddenly rang out. Laughter echoed throughout the valley. Longao? Was that Longao's voice? When the six of them heard Longao's voice, other than Miaoling, who was elated, the other five were completely stunned. They had thought that Longao would definitely die after stepping into the black vortex. To think that he would be able to make it out alive. A whole 100 years. To think that Longao had stayed in the black vortex for a whole 100 years. If not for the fact that they had heard Longao's voice, they wouldn't have believed it. It was inconceivable. Longao, how dare you? Ha ha ha, why wouldn't I dare? Longao appeared beside the black boulder without anyone noticing. Looking at the 5 of them who were rushing over, he grabbed the black boulder without hesitation and covered it with the black light. Looking at the situation, the 5 of them were completely stunned. They had waited bitterly for 100 years for this chance. But now, it was going to be taken advantage of by Longao. How could they be willing to accept this? Looking at how Longao was snatching the secret realm, the 5 of them didn't know whether to be happy or angry. They were happy because Longao was snatching the secret realm. Without a doubt, Longao hadn't devoured the primal chaos energy and hadn't become a star dominator. Otherwise, he wouldn't have needed to snatch the secret realm at all. He would have only needed to kill the 5 of them. They were angry because even if Longao hadn't devoured the primal chaos energy, he would still have become a half-step star dominator if he could devour the secret realm. At that time, he would still be able to kill them in minutes. No matter what happened, they couldn't let Longao devour the heart of the secret realm and refine it to become a half-step star dominator. The 5 of them didn't continue fighting each other. Instead, they all rushed towards Longao at an extremely fast speed. As for Miao Ling, she naturally wouldn't let the 5 of them rush over. If Longao could obtain the secret realm, it would be the best choice for her. Miao Ling was very clear that with the interference of the 5 of them, it would be impossible for her to obtain the secret realm. Miao Ling's strength was limited. She couldn't stop the 5 of them by herself. Moreover, the 5 of them were too fast. As they rushed over, the 5 of them had already suppressed Miao Ling's strength. However, it was too late. The black light and the black boulder on the ground had already disappeared without a trace. Seeing this, the 5 of them were enraged to the extreme. Their speed became even faster. They originally thought that Longao would turn and leave after obtaining the secret realm. However, the 5 of them were shocked because Longao didn't leave at all. Instead, he stood there quietly, as if waiting for them. Holding the primal chaos axe in his hand, Longao wanted to test how powerful his primal chaos 9 axes was. After more than 100 years, he did not hesitate to successfully cultivate the first axe. As for when he would be able to obtain the second axe of the primal chaos 9 axes, even he did not know. Not only that, Longao had been cultivating for the past 100 years. However, he didn't know why. Although he was originally very confident in his talent, he felt very helpless at this moment. Because after more than 100 years, he still hadn't succeeded in breaking through in his cultivation. Under normal circumstances, with his talent, even if it was a little difficult for him to break through to the starry sky immortal realm from the legend realm, it shouldn't be so difficult. 100 years was a bit of nonsense. But the result? After 100 years, he still hadn't succeeded in breaking through in his cultivation. It could be said that he was helpless to the extreme. Because of this, even if he succeeded in cultivating the first axe of the primal chaos 9 axes, it was still unknown whether he could contend against a peak starry sky immortal realm expert. Longao also wanted to test his current strength. He could use the 5 of them to test it out. If the 5 of them knew what Longao was thinking, who knew if they would be angered to death? Chapter 2489. Fighting 1 against 5? Seeing that Longao wasn't dodging and seemed to want to fight them head-on, the 5 of them burst out laughing. They had seen arrogant people before, but they had never seen someone so arrogant. He didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Brother Long, quickly dodge. Seeing that Longao had successfully taken the secret realm, Miao Ling was pleasantly surprised. However, at this moment, when she saw that Longao wasn't dodging and was prepared to fight them head-on, Miao Ling started to worry again. Fighting 1 against 5, not to mention Longao's current strength, even a starry sky immortal expert wouldn't be able to do it. What was going on with Longao? She couldn't figure it out. She really couldn't figure it out. However, Miao Ling was very far away from Longao. As the saying goes, distant water couldn't quench a present thirst. On the other hand, Longao wasn't worried at all. Just as the 5 of them were about to reach him, Long Ao's primal chaos axe had already slashed out. It was just a single axe. The primal chaos axe in Long Ao's hand seemed very ordinary. There wasn't anything special about it. However, the five of them were very clear that the axe in Long Ao's hand wasn't to be underestimated. It could split the starry sky and cause cracks in space. Just thinking about it made one realize how terrifying this starry sky god weapon was. The five of them didn't dare to underestimate it. However, for the secret realm, the five of them went all out. They didn't care about anything else and attacked Long Ao with all their might. The result? Before the five of them could react, Long Ao slashed out with the first axe of the Primal Chaos 9 axes, Hell Devour. A terrifying force covered the five of them. It was as though they were instantly transported to hell. It was very desolate and strange. This was something that the five of them didn't expect. Space crack. Before cultivating, Long Ao didn't expect that the Primal Chaos 9 axes that he had successfully cultivated could be combined with Starry Sky Mastery. Not only could it split the starry sky and compress the space crack, it could even expand the area and its strength. The five people also did not expect that although Long Ao's realm did not increase, his strength actually increased so quickly. What was going on? The five of them were not fools. They had already guessed that Long Ao had entered the Black Vortex. Even if he did not succeed in devouring the Primal Chaos Force, they believed that he had obtained some kind of divine ability. Hell devoured. The surrounding cracks in the starry skies were like hell as they began to devour the five of them. If the five of them continued to clash head-on, there was no doubt that even if the five of them worked together to resist hell's devouring soul, they would still be taken seriously. As the saying goes, a wise man submits to circumstances. Of course, the five of them would not continue to meet force with force. They immediately retreated. Their retreating speed was extremely fast. Rolling and crawling, the five of them had already escaped the range of hell's devour. At this moment, the five of them looked at Long Ao who was in front of them. Their faces were gloomy and ugly. Sister Meow, come here. With Meow Ling Er's speed, she had already arrived beside Long Ao. She coldly stared at the five people before her. The killing intent radiating from her body was so strong that it seemed to have materialized, ruthlessly enveloping the five of them. His killing intent was not concealed in the slightest. Long Ao, if my guess is correct, 100 years ago, when you stepped into the Black Vortex, you must have obtained some kind of divine ability, right? What has that got to do with you? The five of them were already used to Long Ao's arrogance. They were only angry that Long Ao had entered the Black Vortex alone. If they had entered as well, they might have been able to devour the power of chaos and even obtain such a heaven-defying divine ability. Even though the five of them were extremely unwilling to admit it, they had no choice but to admit that their strength was no longer enough to suppress Long Ao. Just from that move alone, if they had let their guard down even a little, the five of them would have been doomed eternally. Could it be that they were going to give up just like that? The five of them had waited for countless years for the mysterious plane. If they were to give up just like that, they were truly unwilling to accept it. How could Long Ao not know what the five of them were thinking? Are the five of you unwilling to accept it? Before the five of them could speak, Long Ao continued, before I go back on my words, you'd better scram. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. In fact, Long Ao wasn't completely confident that he could kill the five of them. If his cultivation base could break through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm, he would undoubtedly be able to kill 5 peak Starry Sky Immortal Realm experts at the same time without a doubt. However, the current situation was a little special. If he was facing one of them alone, Long Ao might be able to fight and kill him. However, if he were to face 5 of them alone, even with Meow Ling Er's help, he wouldn't be able to do it. The 5 of their expressions changed again and again. In the end, the 5 of them chose to leave. Little brother Long, are you all right? I'm fine. Even though the 5 of them chose to leave temporarily, they won't give up so easily. We have to be careful. Meow Ling naturally guessed that if little brother Long had the confidence to kill the 5 of them, he wouldn't have gone through so much trouble. In the end, it was because little brother Long didn't have the confidence to kill the 5 of them. If that was the case, the 5 of them definitely wouldn't give up. Little brother Long, What should we do now? Long Ao smiled and said, Big Sister Meow, this is the birthplace of the secret realm. If I'm not wrong, even if there's no primal chaos energy here, it's still a holy land for cultivation. You and I can cultivate here for another 100 years. Even if Miao Ling was a fool, she already knew what Long Ao meant. Without waiting for Long Ao to continue, she said, Little brother Long, this definitely won't do. You're the one who obtained the secret realm, so you should be the one to devour it. I won't devour it. Miao Ling had already guessed it. How could she agree so easily? Even though her relationship with little brother Long wasn't bad, she might be able to accept it if it was something else. Only the secret realm was something she couldn't devour. How could Long Ao not know what she meant by going against Big Sister Meow? However, he had already decided that since he had already devoured the attributeless Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, he would definitely become a Starry Sky ruler in the future. However, if he could devour the secret realm, it would definitely be twice the result with half the effort. However, Long Ao was someone who valued his friends greatly. If they were his friends, he would treat them wholeheartedly. If they were his enemies, then sorry, if they dared to provoke him, he would definitely send them to the 18th level of hell. Smiling, Long Ao said, Big Sister Meow, if you still treat me as your little brother, then go ahead and devour the secret realm. If you don't want to continue treating me as your little brother, then I won't say anything more. Oh right, Big Sister, even if you devour the secret realm and become a half-step Starry Sky ruler in the future, you can definitely help me overcome all difficulties. What do you think? Miao Ling was still unwilling because the secret realm was too important. If she really devoured the secret realm, then she would really be letting little brother Long down. Chapter 2490. Since things were already like this, Miao Ling didn't insist. It was just like what Long Ao said. Even if she devoured the secret realm and became a half-step star ruler, she could still help her brother. Sister Meow, according to my judgment, you'll need at least a few 100 years to completely merge with the secret realm and refine the heart of the secret realm. What are your plans during this time? Plans? Miao Ling didn't have any family or friends. She was alone. It was fine if she didn't say anything. Now that she thought about it, she was indeed a little lost. What should she do next? Looking at Miao Ling's expression, Long Ao already knew what she was thinking. He continued, Big Sister Meow, if you don't mind, after we leave this place, you can come to my empire to cultivate. In the future, we will be your family. Family? Hearing this, Miao Ling was touched. She didn't have any concept of family. Although she didn't say much, Miao Ling obviously agreed. She was overjoyed. In the following time, whether it was Long Ao or Miao Ling they broke open the entrance under the black rock and smashed open a cave. Then, they started cultivating in the cave. On the left side of the cave, Long Ao sat on the ground and cultivated quietly. However, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't break through the final bottleneck. It was really difficult to break through from Star Ruler to Star Ruler Immortal. He didn't know how long he had to wait. In the end, Long Ao could only sigh. Other than giving up, he didn't know what to do. Long Ao had already seen the true power of the Primal Chaos 9 axes. Although it was just the first axe, it was enough to scare off a peak Star Ruler Immortal. Even if Long Ao wanted to cultivate the second axe, he couldn't do it. Because in his mind, he only knew how to cultivate the first axe. He didn't know the rest. This was also why Long Ao was depressed. Just as Long Ao was cultivating the first axe, Hell Devour. Suddenly, the situation changed. Suddenly, Long Ao realized that something was amiss. The Primal Chaos seal inside the Primal Chaos axe suddenly floated out and floated in front of Long Ao. Miao Linger, who was refining the heart of the secret realm, suddenly saw Long Ao's situation and felt very worried. Just as Miao Linger was about to ask, Long Ao waved his hand, his meaning clear. Even so, Miao Linger was still worried about Long Ao's safety. She didn't continue to refine the heart of the secret realm and instead stared intently at it. As long as her brother Long Ao made the slightest mistake, she would immediately act. The Primal Chaos seal that was floating in front of Long Ao was just floating there quietly. What did the Primal Chaos seal mean? Longao was a little confused. After all this time, he had never truly grasped the primal chaos seal. He did not know what was going on with the primal chaos seal at this moment. Longao didn't know what was going on. The chaos energy that was devoured by the chaos axe began to flow into the chaos seal. From slow to fast, the speed was getting faster and faster. In the end, it seemed to have reached a limit. Longao did not dare to act rashly. He did not know why the chaos axe and primal chaos seal were acting this way. However, his instincts told him that this should be beneficial to him. Under Longao's shocked gaze, the chaos seal began to change shape slowly. He was completely dumbfounded. The chaos seal had always been the most mysterious thing. As for the power of the chaos seal, Longao did not know at all. However, he did not know why it would change shape after devouring the chaos energy. It split into 9. The chaos seal began to change shape slowly. With the help of the chaos energy, with the black as the center, 9 petals began to appear. They were all black in color and looked extremely strange. After the chaos seal took shape, the chaos axe had already cut off the flow of chaos energy. 9 colored lotus represented the 9 lives cycle. From there, it would reach a state of endless cycle. Just like that, Longao knew what this 9-colored lotus was. Excitement, agitation, disbelief, and surprise were written all over his face. "Brother Long, what's going on with you? Are you all right?" He smiled and shook his head. Longao didn't hide anything from Miao Linger. He said, "Sister Miao, this is something I obtained by chance in the past. This time, I suddenly devoured the primal chaos energy and formed a 9-colored lotus flower. It represents the cycle of 9 lives." Devouring the chaos energy? 9-colored lotus? 9 lives cycle? Miao Linger naturally knew what the first point meant. However, she knew nothing about the 9-colored lotus and the 9 lives cycle. She did not know what Longao meant. "Brother Long, what do you mean?" Miao Linger's instincts told her that Longao was definitely fine. Otherwise, why would he have such a surprised look on his face? "Sister Miao, I'm still unable to truly master the seal of chaos. No, it should be the 9-colored chaos lotus, so I'm not sure about the specifics. However, the 9-colored chaos lotus has given me 9 lives. In other words, unless someone can destroy the 9 lives that the 9-colored chaos lotus has given birth to, I'm immortal." Ah! Hearing her brother's words, Miao Linger was completely stunned. She had never imagined that her brother's universal divine weapon would be so heaven-defying. She had never seen or heard of such a thing before. 9 lives. Under such circumstances, how could it be possible to destroy all 9 lives of Longao at the same time? Without a doubt, Longao was an immortal existence. Miao Linger was truly happy for Longao. She smiled and said, "Brother Long, you better not reveal this matter. If others know about it, especially the 12 space rulers and 9 half-step space rulers." How could Longao not know about Sister Miao's worries? If this matter were to spread out, it would definitely cause a sensation in the entire vast starry sky. Because in the entire vast starry sky, such a thing had never happened before. The chaotic 9-colored lotus was a heaven-defying divine weapon of the starry sky. It was indeed a bit shocking. "Sister Miao, don't worry. This matter will not be leaked out." As he spoke, Longao couldn't help but laugh. He had never imagined that the Chaos Seal could give birth to the Chaos 9-colored lotus. The Chaos 9-colored lotus gave birth to 9 lives. The 9 lives cycle was endless. No one would be able to destroy all 9 lives at the same time. Longao had full confidence in this, because the 9 lives of the Chaos 9-colored lotus were interchangeable. Now that he had 9 lives, even if he encountered the God Diviner, he would be able to escape unscathed. He was very clear about his situation. Even the space rulers would not be able to destroy the Chaos 9-colored lotus at the same time. "Sister Miao, in the following time, I will completely merge with the Chaos 9-colored lotus. This way, I will truly be immortal." Chapter 2491. Miao Linger nodded and immediately entered her fusion state. The seal of primal chaos had already formed the nine-colored face and had given birth to 9 lives. However, this wasn't the end. In order to achieve true immortality, one had to think of all ways to fuse the 9-colored face, which meant fusing the 9 lives. This matter could be said to be both simple and difficult at the same time. This was because Longao needed to fuse the one-colored lotuses 9 times before he could succeed. Time passed. Unknowingly, 10 years had passed in the blink of an eye. After 10 whole years, Longao only managed to fuse the one-colored lotus. At this rate, wouldn't it take him 90 years to fuse all the 9 colored lotuses? If that was the case, adding the previous 100 years, he had stayed in this mysterious plane for a total of 190 years. He wondered how the Empire was doing. However, Longao wasn't in a hurry to leave, because he was certain that Zhou Feng and the rest hadn't left yet. They definitely wouldn't let this matter rest. Although he had truly cultivated the first axe, Hell Devour, the gap between their realms was too big. If he went out and fought the 5 of them alone, he and Sister Miao would definitely be at a disadvantage. Let's fuse the 9 colored lotuses first. Thinking of this, Longao didn't leave, but continued to fuse the 9 colored lotuses. On the other side of the valley, Zhou Feng and the other 4's faces were gloomy because they had already guessed that Longao must have obtained some kind of heaven-defying sacred art even if he didn't manage to devour the primal chaos energy. Just the sacred art Longao used before was enough to explain everything. The 5 knew that Longao's realm wasn't high enough. If he could break through from the legend rank to the immortal rank, it would be a different story. If that really happened, who among the 5 of them would be a match for Longao? Greed. The 5 of them couldn't wait to kill Longao and take away the treasures on Longao. Even with Longao as an enemy, the 4 of them still kept a distance from Zhou Feng. After all, Zhou Feng was from the Slaughter clan. Who knew if Zhou Feng would make a move against them? The Slaughter clan was indeed very powerful countless years ago. They even provoked the 4 major clans to join forces to suppress them. After so many years, although the 4 major clans had stopped pursuing the Slaughter clan, the members of the Slaughter clan still didn't dare to casually appear in the vast starry sky. The 4 of them had already decided that this wasn't the right time to fall out with Zhou Feng. Even if they didn't fall out now, it wouldn't in the future. If they were able to successfully kill Longao, then once they left this mysterious plane, they would join hands to kill Zhou Feng with all their might. From there, they would eliminate the root of the problem and eliminate all future troubles. Regarding the shamelessness of the 4 people, Zhou Feng was also very clear in his heart. Bide one's time and wait for the enemy to beat them at their own game. It could be said that both sides had ulterior motives and were scheming against each other. The 4 of you, I believe you have already seen the current situation. If we are still scattered, we will only give Longao a chance. Once Longao successfully leaves this place, we will be very passive. The vast starry sky was boundless and boundless. It was simply impossible to find a trace of a person in the vast starry sky. It was like finding a needle in the ocean. What Zhou Feng said was the most depressing thing for the 4 of them. But they really didn't want to join forces with Zhou Feng. Gangmu smiled and said, Zhou Feng, we don't work together. You are from the Slaughter clan. If we choose to join forces with you, even if we can kill Longao, it will be difficult for us to establish ourselves in the starry sky. That's right. If we want to kill Longao and snatch his treasures and divine powers, we'll rely on our own abilities. Let's not talk about other things. Gang Mu and Yi Chang's intentions were clear. The 4 of them wouldn't join forces with Zhou Feng. Zhou Feng wasn't angry at all. Instead, he smiled and said, in that case, let's wait and see. Seeing Zhou Feng turn and leave, the 4 of them looked at each other and saw a deep sense of helplessness in each other's eyes. What do you think we should do now? The 4 of them were very serious about the current situation. Because Longao had obtained the divine powers, even if the 4 of them joined forces, they might not be able to kill Longao. Yicheng thought for a while and said, the current situation is very unfavorable for us. But according to my guess, if nothing unexpected happens, Longao shouldn't be able to fight us head-on. Otherwise, with the grudges between us, how could Longao choose to let us go? They didn't think of it before. Now that they heard Yicheng's words, the other 3's expression changed. If they thought about it carefully, it was indeed so. Let's go. Thinking of this, the four of them didn't hesitate and immediately began to lock onto Longao's position. Before Longao's cultivation base broke through, they had to lock onto him and kill him as soon as possible. If they waited until Longao's cultivation base broke through from Star Sky Legend to Star Sky Immortal Realm, everything would be too late. The four of them were completely anxious. Looking at the four of them gradually leaving, Zhou Feng's lips slowly curled into a cold smile as he muttered to himself, "The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. I want to see who will have the last laugh." As he spoke, Zhou Feng also followed the four of them. As the saying goes, the most dangerous place is also the safest place. Even if the five of them were to be beaten to death, they would never have guessed that Longao and Miao Linger were both cultivating under the Black Rock. As for Longao and Miao Linger leaving, the five of them were extremely confident. Their auras had already covered the entrance of the valley. As long as the two of them left, they would definitely be able to sense it. This point, the five of them were very confident. In the blink of an eye, 60 years had passed. Longao and Miao Ling were still cultivating under the Black Rock. As for the five of them, they naturally thought of this place. However, Longao's actions were well hidden. Even now, the five of them still couldn't lock onto the two of them. After searching for 60 years, they still couldn't find anything. It was impossible to say that they weren't depressed. Even now, the five of them still didn't know where Longao and Miao Ling had gone. The valley was only so big. Unless the two of them entered the black whirlpool again, it was impossible for them to escape from the range of their auras. Moreover, it had been 60 years. Just what was going on? Were Longao and Miao Ling still in the valley? No idea. The five of them didn't know anything. However, after thinking about it, the five of them still managed to lock onto the two of them. If there were no accidents, Longao and Miao Ling might have already entered the black whirlpool. The more they thought about it, the angrier and more helpless they got. If that was really the case, they could only continue to wait. Chapter 2492. There were two possibilities. Longao and Miao had either entered the black whirlpool or left the valley. The five of them were still certain that Longao and Miao had not left the valley. They had only entered the black whirlpool. They had no choice but to wait. The five of them released their auras to cover the entire valley. As long as Longao and Miao appeared, they would be able to sense their auras immediately. Another 30 years. It had been 90 years. Underneath the black boulder, after 90 years of cultivation, Longao had already successfully fused with the 8-colored lotus flower, leaving only the final 1-colored lotus flower. He had already fused 80% of the lotus. However, the remaining 20% was extremely difficult to fuse. It had already been 90 years. Did he have to wait another 10 years? It was complete nonsense. Longao was starting to get anxious. He knew very well that whether he could fuse the last 20% depended not on time, but on luck. It had been so many years, but he still felt that something was missing. What was it? A 9-colored lotus floated in front of Longao, emitting a strange energy. As for whether it contained the primal chaos energy, it was still unknown. He could not fuse the remaining 20% of the lotus. What was going on? He could not figure it out. Brother Long, what's going on? Longao did not hide anything from Miao Linger. He told her about how he fused the 9-colored lotus. After hearing it, Miao Linger's lotus turned serious. She asked, "Brother Long, you fused the 9-colored lotus with your Yuan spirit?" "Yes. The 9-colored lotus gave birth to 9 lives. One had to fuse the 9-colored lotus with their Yuan spirit to truly fuse the 9 lives and achieve an undying body. Brother Long, have you ever thought of fusing the 9-colored lotus with your Yuan spirit and fusing the remaining lotus with other powers?" What did that mean? Longao was not a fool. He naturally knew what Sister Miao meant. Nodding his head, Longao did not hesitate. He immediately prepared to fuse the remaining lotus with other powers. Other than the power of the primordial spirit, what else could he use to fuse with the primordial spirit? Longao used all the power in his body, but without exception, not a single power could fuse with the remaining lotus. "Brother Long, Is it still not enough? Nodding, Longao said helplessly, without exception, not a single power can fuse with the remaining lotuses. This caused Miaoling to be a little confused. She had no idea what was going on. None of his powers could fuse with the lotus. Miaoling and Longao looked at each other and saw the helplessness in each other's eyes. Right at this moment, little brother dragon, according to what you said, the 9-colored lotus flower gave birth to 9 lives, and you've already fused all of the 8-colored lotus flowers. As for the last colored lotus flower, even if you've fused 80% of it, it's still not considered a true fusion. That's right. Strictly speaking, he had only managed to fuse the 8-colored lotus flower. He hadn't managed to fuse the last colored lotus flower. Why was he able to fuse 80% of the last colored lotus flower? It wasn't of much use. If that's the case, I have a guess, but I don't know if it will work. Please speak, Sister Meow. Since things had already come to this, he had to give it a try no matter what. Little brother Long, try fusing your bloodline. Bloodline fusing? Even though he felt that something was off, Longao was still prepared to give it a try. No matter what, this was the idea that Sister Meow had thought of. The bloodline in Longao's body began to churn, directly covering the 9-colored lotus, especially the last 1-colored lotus. Just as Longao was about to give up, the situation suddenly changed. The bloodline fusion, which originally had no hope, immediately began to change. After the bloodline covered the last colored lotus flower, it started to devour and fuse with it rapidly. Lin Fan was elated. Sister Meow, it's working. I'll start fusing with the last colored lotus flower. All right. Longao did not hesitate at all. He immediately put his heart and soul into the fusion of blood vessels. According to this fusion speed, it would not take more than 10 years for the fusion to succeed. 10 years later, ha 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 ha. Following a series of maniacal laughter, Longao stood up abruptly. Seeing this, Miaoling could guess what was going on. Her face was filled with joy as well. After laughing for a few minutes, Longao finally stopped. Sister Meow, I'm really thankful this time. If not for you, I wouldn't have fused with the 9-colored lotus flower. With this, I've completely fused with the 9-colored lotus flower and gained an immortal body. His essence spirit fused with the 8-colored lotus flower, and his bloodline fused with the 1-colored lotus flower. After the fusion, the 9-colored lotus flower was truly fused, and Longao now knew why the last colored lotus needed to be fused with the bloodline. Just fusing with the lotus flower was not enough to achieve immortality. Only by fusing with both the bloodline and the essence spirit would it be possible. Before Miaoling could say anything, Longao continued, Sister Meow, how's your refining of the heart of the secret ground? This was the most important thing. Ever since Sister Meow had obtained the secret ground, it had been 100 years. If she was lucky, she might have truly refined the heart of the secret ground and become a half-step cosmic dominator. However, Miaoling shook her head helplessly. Little brother Long, you don't know this. It's extremely difficult to refine the heart of the secret ground. In 100 years, I've only refined less than 1/10 of it. At this rate, I'll need at least 1,000 years. 1,000 years wasn't a long time for a cultivator in the universe. However, the situation right now is dangerous. If Sister Meow's cultivation base could reach the half-step cosmic dominator level, she would be of great help to the Empire. She could even threaten the other empires. However, there was no use in rushing things like this. Thankfully, Sister Meow could refine the heart of the secret ground. Even though it would take a little longer, there was still hope. Sister Meow, why don't we leave this place first? When we return to the Empire, I'll find a quiet place for you to cultivate wholeheartedly. How about that? How could Miaoling not understand Longao's intentions? There was no problem at all. Miaoling smiled. No problem. But little brother Long, if nothing unexpected happens, the 5 of them will still be guarding outside. If we appear, we'll definitely be locked down. At that time, we won't be able to leave this place smoothly. Chapter 2493. Longao naturally knew what Sister Meow was worried about. If there were no accidents, Zhou Feng and the others would definitely be waiting outside. If the two of them sneaked out, they would definitely be locked onto by the five of them. Under the current circumstances, if they chose to fight head-on, it would be very disadvantageous for the two of them. What should they do? Sister Meow, why don't we barge in? Meow Linger was very clear that other than barging in, there was no other good way. No problem. Longao and Meow Linger relaxed slightly and immediately left the cave, heading towards the entrance. They appeared? Zhou Feng and the others, who were still trying to lock onto the two of them, suddenly locked onto them and rushed towards the entrance. Their faces changed, but more of them were pleasantly surprised. They definitely couldn't let Longao leave the valley. The five of them chased after them with their fastest speed. However, Longao and Meow Linger's speed had reached the limit. In just a few seconds, the two of them had already left the valley. Realm. The faces of the five of them were extremely dark. Even though the realm wasn't big, if the two of them left this realm, it would be impossible to find them in the vast universe. Are the four of you not going to join forces with me? If it was any other time, the four of them would definitely not choose to join forces with Zhou Feng. No matter what, Zhou Feng's identity was there. But now, the situation was completely different. Helpless, Zhou Feng could only nod his head in agreement. Just like that, the five of them chose to join forces for the same goal and headed towards the entrance. But as for how to leave this realm, it was still a troublesome matter. Previously, when they stepped into this realm, it was because of the suppression of energy. If they wanted to leave, it was impossible to rely on luck alone. Brother Long, what should we do next? Meow Linger's face was extremely dark. Because she had already released her Yuan spirit and covered the entire realm, but she couldn't sense the entrance. If that was the case, the two of them wouldn't be able to leave this realm. The longer they delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for the two of them. No matter what, Zhou Feng's group of five would definitely not give up chasing after him. Sister Meow, I have a way to leave this place. Hearing Longao's words, Meow Linger's heart leaped with joy. Without the slightest hesitation, Longao immediately activated the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra in his body, and an invisible force instantly covered his whole body. In a short while, the entrance to the plane had been locked. Come with me. Ever since the Chaos Axe and Chaos Seal devoured the chaos energy, Longao no longer felt a splitting headache as he circulated the 9 Revolutions Chaos Mantra. According to the current situation, the only way to lock onto the exit was to use the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra. As expected, the two of them were very fast because they knew very well that if they could leave this plane smoothly, then everything would be much easier. Although the five of them could lock onto two of them, it would be too late by the time they started chasing after them. After leaving the plane, the two of them did not continue to linger in the mysterious plane. In less than a few minutes, they had already smoothly stepped into the vast starry sky. At the entrance to the plane, the five of them looked at the vast starry sky with ugly expressions. Longao and Meow Linger had already left successfully. Under such circumstances, it wouldn't be easy to find traces of the two of them in the vast starry sky. The four of you, why don't we work together? Before Zhou Feng could finish his words, Gangmu had already shook his head and said, Zhou Feng, we are not on the same path. Goodbye. Within the plane, the four of them naturally had nothing to fear. But now that they had stepped into the vast starry sky, if they continued to work together with Zhou Feng and this matter was known by others, then things would really be troublesome. Looking at the four of them gradually leaving, Zhou Feng did not have the slightest bit of anger. Instead, he turned around and left with a cold smile. The three of you, what should we do now? Gangmu and the others were helpless to the extreme. If Longao was a peak starry sky immortal, then it would be easy to find him. But if Longao was unknown, then it would be too difficult to find him. This was because in the vast starry sky, no one knew about Longao's background. Yicheng thought for a while and said, how about this? The four of us will first find out about Longao's background. With this person's talent and abilities, he shouldn't be a nobody. Since things had come to this, this was the only way. Other than the peak starry sky immortal, the rest of the people in the mysterious plane still did not leave. After all, no one knew what had happened before. Longao had left and returned because his friend, Yulong, was still in the mysterious plane. Brother Long, what happened? Longao did not hide much from Yulong and roughly told him what had happened before. However, he did not mention a word about the primal chaos axe devouring the primal chaos energy. After all, this was a serious matter. If it was leaked, even if he did not fear others, it would be difficult for the clairvoyant master to say anything. The clairvoyant master was willing to do anything for the primal chaos energy. After hearing this, Yulong did not have any doubts. He said helplessly, Brother Long, forgive me for being blunt. Since you have already obtained the secret plane, why should you give it to Miao Linger? As the saying goes, you may know a person for a long time without understanding their true nature. If Miao Ling has other intentions in the future, wouldn't you lose more than you gain? How could Long Ao not know what Yulong meant? Long Ao smiled and said, I believe in Sister Miao. Yulong did not understand why Long Ao would do this. Under normal circumstances, since Long Ao had obtained the secret plane, he should have devoured it himself. Why should he give it to someone else? He could not understand. He really could not understand. However, since Long Ao had said so, he could not say anything more. Long Ao did not say anything either. Not long after, the three of them met. Miao Ling, and Yulong had known each other for many years. Because of Long Ao, the two of them could not continue to be enemies. They had become friends. The two of you, let's return to my empire now. What do you think? Brother Long, I have no problem with it. Long Ao naturally knew that Sister Miao had no problem with it. He mainly asked for Yulong's opinion because he knew that with his current strength, it was almost impossible for him to help Yulong deal with Yububi and take back the peak of the dragon race. Based on the current situation, he naturally had to consider the long-term plan. He was also worried that Yulong would be reckless. No matter what, after waiting for so many years, if Yulong failed to devour the secret plane and become a half-step starry sky ruler, Yulong would definitely be disheartened. If he did something stupid, it was not something he wanted to see. Chapter 2494. How could Yulong not know what Long Ao meant? He was touched. After thinking for a while, Yulong said, Brother Long, I don't have anywhere to go for the time being. If you don't mind, I can follow you back to your empire. How about that? All right. Other than Long Ao, no one else knew about Yulong's identity, including Miao Ling. The mysterious dimension was very far from the soaring dragon realm. However, with their speed, they could reach it in at most 2 hours. Just as they arrived at the empire, Long Ao personally arranged a secluded and elegant forbidden area for the two of them. Other than himself, no one else was allowed to take even half a step into it. Long Ao's smooth return made everyone heave a sigh of relief. Although every time Long Ao left, he would be able to return smoothly, everyone was still incomparably worried because no one knew when an accident would happen. Yulong didn't know about the situation in the Soaring Dragon Empire, but that didn't mean that Miao Ling didn't know. The current Soaring Dragon Empire was probably the most powerful force in the vast starry sky. A full 12 Chaos Steels were already all obtained by Long Ao. If the Soaring Dragon Empire was given enough time, there was no doubt that there would be a total of 12 universe rulers. What kind of concept was that? What did that mean? Not only that, Long Ao had also devoured a Chaos Tablet. In that case, the Soaring Dragon Empire would have a total of 13 universe rulers in the future. It was too scary. Even if all 12 universe rulers gathered together, they wouldn't be a match for the Soaring Dragon Empire in the future. However, without Long Ao's intention, Miao Ling didn't know what to do. At this moment, Miao Ling do you know why Brother Long is looking for us? Miao Ling shook her head. Her meaning was clear. Before the two of them could continue talking, Long Ao had already walked in. However, he wasn't alone. There were two people beside him. They were none other than Xiling and Long Chong. Little Brother Long, is there something you need from us? The Soaring Dragon Empire originally had 3 universe rulers. However, the indestructible Tyrant Body Universe ruler, also known as Xin Tong, had left. In other words, only Long Chong and Xiling were left in the Soaring Dragon Empire. Big Sister Miao, Brother Yulong, let me introduce you. This is Xiling's starry sky ruler, and this is my brother, Longchong. He has already devoured the 5 elements primal chaos tablet, and will become the 5 elements starry sky ruler in the future. Huh, what did that mean? Looking at the 2 people beside Longao, both Miaolinger and Yulong were dumbfounded. They had never expected that Longao's soaring dragon empire would have 2 rulers of the starry sky. However, Longao was very helpless about his cultivation breakthrough. He originally thought that it wouldn't take long for him to break through from the Starry Sky Legend realm to the Starry Sky Immortal realm. But in the end, it had been more than 200 years, and his cultivation still hadn't broken through smoothly. It was a very unrealistic problem. Brother Long, thank you for your kindness. I know what to do. If Yulong still didn't know what Longao meant, then he was really a fool. He was really touched because he had friends in the past, but every time he encountered the threat of the Peak Dragon race, they would either stand by and do nothing, or choose to betray him. Since then, there was one person who treated him like Longao. It was enough to have such a friend in this life. Longao didn't continue to persuade him because this was all he could do. Even he couldn't do anything about the rest. He just hoped that Yulong wouldn't act rashly. When his cultivation broke through to the Starry Sky Immortal realm, or when Xiling and Longchong became Starry Sky Dominators, then it would be time to snatch the Peak Dragon race. After Yulong left, Miaoling suddenly smiled and said, Brother Long, if a person like you was placed in the vast starry sky, I'm afraid you would suffer a lot. Then, he briefly explained Yulong's identity. Huh. After hearing Longao's words, Miaoling was completely stunned. Of course, she knew what the identity of the Dragon Emperor at the pinnacle of the Dragon Clan meant. From the start to the end, Miaolinger had never imagined that Yulong, whom she had interacted with for countless years, would actually be the so-called Dragon Emperor of the Dragon Clan. Unbelievable. Little brother Long, I promise you, regardless of her relationship with Yulong, just because of her relationship with Longao, Miaolinger had no choice but to agree. Elder Sister Miao, from now on, you will fully integrate with the heart of the secret realm. All right. After not returning to the Empire for 200 years, Longao was not in a hurry to leave this time. Instead, he spent some time with his family. As for his son, he did not take it to heart. In the blink of an eye, since Longao returned to the Empire, it had been decades since Longao had a breakthrough in his cultivation base. This made Longao very depressed. During this period of time, the entire vast starry sky was searching for Longao's traces. The 9 great starry sky empires, Zhoufeng, and the others. However, the location of Longao and the empire was too secretive. Unless one was unlucky, no one would be able to find Longao and the Soaring Dragon Empire. However, Longao did not continue to linger because he was very clear that he had to deal with things that needed to be dealt with. First of all, the 9 great starry sky empires. Even if he did not look for them, Bai Jing and the others would not let him off easily. In that case, he might as well take the initiative. For so many years, Longao had always wanted to take the initiative. He did not like to be passive. After leaving the empire, Longao headed towards the number 1 great starry sky empire. His first target was the number 1 great starry sky empire. The number 1 great starry sky empire now had 1 half-step starry sky dominator and 4 peak starry sky immortal realm experts. Such strength was enough to conquer the entire vast starry sky. It was almost impossible for him to shake the number 1 great starry sky empire with his strength alone. However, Longao had already thought of a way. If he could not do it head-on, then he would do it from the back. With his strength and the help of the formation, as long as he did not meet 5 people, no one in the number 1 great starry sky empire would be his match. Number 1 great starry sky empire. For more than 200 years, there was no news of Longao. Bai Jing and the others were furious because the vast starry sky was too big. Even with the number 1 great starry sky empire's strength, they could not find Longao's trace in a short time. As for giving up, it was almost impossible. Chapter 2496. 10 of our elders have fallen. What? Hearing their subordinates report, the 5 of them were completely stunned. 10 elders meant that the Empire had lost 10 universe legends and undying experts. It was a huge loss even for the Empire. What's going on? Bai Jing and Bai Hua's expression was extremely gloomy because they never thought such a thing would happen. I don't know. Don't know? At this time, Bai Hua seemed to have thought of something and immediately said, Ancestor, it's very likely that Longao is behind this. The reason? Bai Jing's voice was extremely gloomy because he didn't quite believe that this was Longao's doing. The entire vast starry sky knew about the grudge between the number 1 universe Empire and Longao. The Empire had been searching for Longao for so many years. If Longao appeared now, wouldn't he be walking right into a trap? Moreover, if Longao really had the strength to deal with the Empire, why didn't he attack them directly instead of launching a sneak attack? In the end, it was because Longao wasn't strong enough. Under normal circumstances, this would be the case. Bai Hua thought for a while and said, Ancestor, other than Longao, I really can't think of anyone else in the starry sky who would dare to attack us. I'm afraid even the other 8 half-step universe rulers wouldn't dare. There was no doubt about it. If that was the case, then this must be Longao's doing. How could Bai Jing be willing to lose 10 elders just like that? She coldly said, Longao, there is a door to heaven, but you don't want to leave. There is no door to hell, but you barge in. In that case, don't leave. Next, the 5 of them discussed how to deal with Longao because they wouldn't be able to stop Longao if they attacked him directly. Because the lesson of the past was still vivid in their minds, the only way was to think of a way. Just as Bai Hua guessed, the one who killed the 10 elders of the number 1 universe empire was Longao. Although Longao's cultivation base hadn't broken through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm, his strength was enough to destroy a Starry Sky Immortal Realm expert. As long as he didn't face the 5 of them head-on, no one in the number 1 Starry Sky Empire would be a match for Longao. While Longao and the first Starry Sky Empire were fighting each other. Suddenly, an earth-shattering event occurred in the vast starry sky. A huge crystal coffin suddenly appeared in the vast starry sky, spanning across the starry sky. No one knew where he came from. No one knew what was inside the crystal coffin. A crystal coffin appeared out of nowhere. What was going on? Countless people headed in the direction of the crystal coffin, including the 9 great starry sky empires, as well as Bai Hua and Bai Jing. Everyone was curious. Longao was no exception. The vast starry sky was boundless. The location where the crystal coffin appeared happened to be the intersection of the 9 grand starry skies, not belonging to any starry sky empire. It was surrounded by countless planes, and a huge crystal coffin floated in the middle. Countless people were watching, but no one dared to take a step forward, because the aura released from the crystal coffin was very strange. Some people had tried to step forward, but they were eroded by this strange aura and eventually committed suicide. It was a shocking sight. When Longao arrived, there were already countless people watching from all directions. At a glance, it was a very spectacular sight. Everyone had already guessed that this crystal coffin that had appeared out of thin air most likely contained some kind of treasure. Even if low-level starry sky cultivators did not have the strength to snatch the treasure, they would at least have the qualifications to visit it. The huge crystal coffin looked very spectacular, and it was transparent and white all over. There were some strange patterns engraved around the crystal coffin, which the countless people around couldn't understand at all. Look, 9 half-step starry sky rulers have appeared in front. Longao also saw that the 9 great starry sky empires each occupied one area. In addition to Bai Jing of the number 1 starry sky empire and Gongsun he of the number 3 starry sky empire, the ancestors of the other 7 great starry sky empires had all appeared. It was shocking. In the vast universe, apart from the 12 universe rulers, there were 9 half-step universe rulers. The 9 half-step space dominators were Bai Jing from the first cosmic empire, Zhu Geming from the second, Gongsun He from the third, Xiaofeng from the fourth, Zhou Bolai from the fifth, Lu Mu from the sixth, Kong Xiao from the seventh, Fang Buping from the eighth, and Wei Bujing from the ninth. It had been so many years. The 9 half-step starry sky rulers had disappeared without a trace, and no one knew their whereabouts. However, no one knew why the 9 of them would appear at the same time. Originally, there were still cosmic empires that could threaten the status of the 9 great cosmic empires. However, with the addition of the 9 half-step cosmic rulers, the 9 great cosmic empires stabilized their status. No one would dare to provoke the 9 great starry sky empires unless they committed suicide or lost their minds. In any case, the strength of the 9 half-step starry sky rulers was not something to be trifled with. Longao didn't care much. Anyway, 1 half-step starry sky ruler and 9 half-step starry sky rulers were the same. As long as they didn't provoke him, he wouldn't bother provoking other half-step starry sky rulers. Ancestor, is there really a great treasure in the crystal coffin? No one could sense what was inside the crystal coffin because of the strange aura released from the crystal coffin. No one dared to approach it. Bai Jing was pleasantly surprised and said, "According to my senses, the aura released from the crystal coffin should be the aura of primal chaos." Others couldn't sense it, but that didn't mean Bai Jing couldn't. In any case, Bai Jing had a secret domain. Although the secret domain didn't have primal chaos energy, it had been refined by primal chaos energy and even refined into the heart of the secret domain. Of course, she could sense that the strange aura released from the crystal coffin was primal chaos energy. What did this mean? Didn't it mean that the crystal coffin contained primal chaos energy? Bai Jing wasn't the only one who knew about this. The other 8 half-step starry sky rulers also knew about it. As for the others, even if they didn't know about the primal chaos energy, they were sure that there must be a great treasure in the crystal coffin. Otherwise, the 9 half-step starry sky rulers wouldn't have come here. Everyone stared at the crystal coffin. In addition to strength, it also depended on luck. If they were unlucky, the 9 half-step starry sky rulers wouldn't be able to obtain the treasure in the crystal coffin. If they were lucky, even a first-grade starry sky cultivator would be able to obtain the great treasure in the crystal coffin. Just when everyone was thinking about how to obtain the treasure in the crystal coffin, the situation suddenly changed. 10 auras suddenly appeared, and it was very terrifying. Everyone looked at them in shock and retreated step by step. Chapter 2497. Starry Sky Ruler. When Bai Jing uttered the words ruler of stars, everyone was stunned. Of the countless people present, no more than 10 had actually seen the 12 starry sky rulers. 10 starry sky rulers? There were 12 starry sky rulers in the vast universe. Greetings, starry sky rulers. Everyone bowed respectfully because the 12 rulers of the starry sky were invincible in the vast starry sky. There was no doubt about that. The 10 didn't even nod. Everyone below the starry sky rulers were ants. 10 starry sky rulers. They were Bloodfiend, Reincarnation starry sky ruler, Slaughter starry sky ruler, Luomu starry sky ruler, Time starry sky ruler, Space starry sky ruler, Heavenly Tao starry sky ruler, Devouring starry sky ruler, Xian Tong starry sky ruler, Darkness starry sky ruler, and Clairvoyant starry sky ruler, Master Clairvoyant. Primal chaos energy. It's actually primal chaos energy. Of all the people present, only the 12 starry sky rulers and 9 half-step starry sky rulers could sense the primal chaos energy in the crystal coffin. The others couldn't. The 10 were pleasantly surprised. At the level of starry sky ruler, there was nothing in the universe that could attract their attention except primal chaos energy. They knew the primal chaos energy existed in the tablet, but they couldn't do anything about it. For so many years, they tried everything, but still couldn't get the primal chaos energy in the tablet. The 8 of you, listen up. If the crystal coffin really does contain primal chaos energy, don't fight for it. When the time comes, I'll give it to each of you fairly. Fuck. Master Clairvoyant's words enraged the 8, and they cursed him for being a good-for-nothing. In the past, they wouldn't have cared about him. After all, they were all starry sky rulers. Before they mastered primal chaos energy, the grade of the tablet didn't mean much. But now, the situation was completely different. None of them had truly refined the tablet. Before they became starry sky rulers, even if all 8 of them worked together, they wouldn't be a match for Master Clairvoyant. As for Yidugu, he naturally hoped his father would give him a share of the primal chaos energy. That way, he'd definitely get more. Master Clairvoyant was furious. Master Clairvoyant sneered. If he really did obtain primal chaos energy, he wouldn't give it to anyone but his own son. The 10 didn't rashly approach the crystal coffin. Others might not know what primal chaos energy meant, but it did not mean that the 10 of them did not. Even if they had the primal chaos stone tablets, they would still be killed by the power of primal chaos. There was no doubt about it. Everyone was wary of the 10 starry sky rulers. He felt helpless. Since the starry sky ruler was there, what could the others do? Not to mention ordinary starry sky cultivators, even the 9 half-step starry sky rulers wouldn't dare intervene casually. After all, half-step starry sky rulers wouldn't even take them seriously. Longao disguised himself in the crowd. As long as he did not take the initiative to make a move, he believed that no one would be able to recognize him. Longao was also surprised by the crystal coffin. Appearing out of nowhere, no one knew where the crystal coffin came from. Longao was certain that the crystal coffin contained primal chaos energy. Otherwise, it would not be able to release primal chaos energy. Leave? Even if there were 10 starry sky rulers and 9 half-step starry sky rulers gathered here, Longao was still unwilling to give up, because his intuition told him that the thing inside the crystal coffin must be very important. If he could obtain it, it would be very useful to him. However, it was impossible to make a move under the watchful eyes of so many people. In the end, the 10 starry sky rulers did not continue to wait because the longer they delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for them. They had to end the battle quickly. They were determined to obtain the primal chaos energy. The 10 starry sky rulers immediately released the primal chaos stone tablets, hoping to use the primal chaos stone tablets to understand what was going on with the crystal coffin. But the result? No matter who the 10 starry sky rulers were, even Master Clairvoyant, the primal chaos stone tablets couldn't get close to the crystal coffin. Once they did, they would be devoured by the primal chaos energy. The 10 starry sky rulers were depressed to the extreme, but this was normal. If primal chaos energy was so easy to deal with, it wouldn't be primal chaos energy. The 10 starry sky rulers did not drive away anyone around, including the 9 half-step starry sky rulers. In the end, the 10 starry sky rulers did not put anyone in their eyes. With the arrival of the 10 starry sky rulers, many people in the surroundings began to gradually leave. Because there were 10 starry sky rulers here, almost no one else could do anything. In the face of absolute temptation, there were still some who were not afraid of death. At least 80% of the people did not choose to leave, because everyone knew that as long as they were lucky enough to obtain the primal chaos energy, they might be able to surpass the starry sky rulers. At that time, it would not be difficult for them to dominate the vast starry sky. In the middle, the huge crystal coffin floated quietly. No matter how much primal chaos energy was released from the crystal coffin, whether it was a first-grade starry sky cultivator or a starry sky ruler, no one dared to approach it rashly. Until this moment, no one could sense what was going on with the crystal coffin. As the saying goes, the most mysterious thing is also the most terrifying thing. No matter who it was, no one could sense what was inside the crystal coffin. As for Longao, he was also very distressed because if he did not take action, no one would be able to recognize him. Once he tried to probe the crystal coffin, things would become very troublesome. Not to mention the others, just the 10 starry sky rulers alone could easily lock his position. Should he just sit there and wait for death? If that was the case, he might as well choose to give up and leave. Since he chose to stay, he would have to think of a way to probe the crystal coffin. Longao was not sure whether the 10 starry sky rulers could sense the primal chaos energy inside the crystal coffin. In his heart, he certainly did not want the 10 starry sky rulers to devour the primal chaos energy. Once they succeeded, he would become very passive. Even if the 12 people of his empire all became starry sky rulers in the future, he was afraid that they would not be able to compete with the divine mathematician and the others. The grade of the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet was useless because the grade of the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet could only be displayed through the fusion of Primal Chaos energy. This was the real reason why the divine mathematician had been trying to obtain the primal chaos energy for so many years. Otherwise, the other starry sky rulers would have almost no chance to refine the primal chaos stone tablet again. Chapter 2498. Gradually, Longao started to get anxious as well. He did not dare to act recklessly under such circumstances. What should he do? This was a thorny issue. He could neither advance nor retreat. It was a dilemma. Dozens of days passed in the blink of an eye. In these dozens of days, everyone tried to get close to the crystal coffin, and the 10 rulers did not stop them. Without a doubt, the 10 rulers were confident that if they could not do it, no one else could either. As the situation became more and more serious, more and more people began to leave. Boom, 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 boom. The gigantic crystal coffin began to vibrate violently, and everyone started to get restless once more. The crystal coffin was extremely strange. Crack, crack, crack. The lid of the crystal coffin began to vibrate violently, one sound after another. It was like thunder. Father, what's going on? Yidugu was completely stunned. Even though he had yet to truly cultivate the Chaos Stone Tablet and become a ruler of the stars, he could clearly sense how terrifying the aura within the crystal coffin was. The godly mathematician's face was extremely grim as well. Even he did not know what was going on with the crystal coffin. Without any hesitation, the godly mathematician began to calculate. No matter how hard he tried, even with the help of the Chaos Stone Tablet, he could not figure out what was going on with the crystal coffin. Looking at his father's silence, Yidugu knew what was going on. What was going on with the crystal coffin that even his father could not figure it out? Boom! A huge sound rang out. The coffin lid on the crystal coffin suddenly opened and slowly floated to one side of the coffin. Huh! Looking at the figure that floated out of the crystal coffin, everyone, including the 10 rulers of the stars, was stunned. They had not expected that there would be someone in the crystal coffin. There was someone. There was someone. What was going on? Everyone looked at the crystal coffin in shock, especially the figure that floated on top of it. Some of them could not resist the temptation and rushed up madly. On top of the crystal coffin, the floating human eagle was clearly a young girl. Her white robes fluttered, and her long black hair danced wildly. She looked extremely creepy. The 10 rulers of the stars did not stop her. Ah, ah, ah. As screams rang out one after another, the people who were running away were directly enveloped by the aura of primal chaos. Before anyone could react, everyone had already turned into nothingness and disappeared without a trace. Too ferocious. Everyone took a few steps back again because the terrifying power that had erupted from the crystal coffin was simply too terrifying. Even the 10 starry sky rulers didn't dare to casually go up there. The white-clothed girl quietly floated on top of the crystal coffin. Although it was strange, she was quiet, giving people an indescribable feeling. She might be the key to devouring the primal chaos tablet. Someone made a move? Now that Longao had disguised himself, it was very difficult for people to recognize him. This time, Longao also wanted to try his luck. He used the power of the primal chaos 9 axes to cover his original aura. He didn't know if he didn't try, but he was shocked when he found that even Master God Diviner couldn't sense his aura with the power of the primal chaos 9 axes. In this case, he didn't have the slightest scruple and could go all out. However, Longao didn't choose to meet force with force. Given Master God Diviner's strength, if he chose to meet force with force, then there was no doubt that Master God Diviner could kill him in an instant. Master God Diviner never thought that someone would dare to make a move under his deterrence. This person really didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Even the other starry sky rulers didn't dare to make a move. Who was this person? However, no matter who it was, Master God Diviner had to kill him without mercy. Otherwise, he would lose his prestige. Everyone was completely dumbfounded because they also didn't think that someone would dare to provoke Master God Diviner. Chapter 2499. He was courting death. Just when everyone thought that this person would be killed by Master Godly Mathematician, suddenly, the situation changed. The white-clothed girl floating on top of the crystal coffin suddenly stood up and slowly opened her eyes. Her eyes were empty and vacant. Even Master Godly Mathematician was a little afraid because he didn't know what was going on between the white-clothed girl and the crystal coffin. If he didn't get what he wanted and fell into a passive position, wouldn't the gains not make up for the losses? Master Godly Mathematician stopped abruptly because he could clearly sense the chaotic energy released by the crystal coffin under the white-clothed girl. Even he didn't dare to casually touch it. As for Longao, he didn't stop at all and continued to rush forward. With Longao's speed, he arrived in the blink of an eye. Was Longao not afraid of the chaotic energy's destruction? Definitely not. Longao wasn't a star ruler who could control the chaotic energy. How could he resist it? The main reason why Longao could pass through the layers of chaotic energy and reach the crystal coffin was because of the mysterious energy released by the Chaos Palace. Without the Chaos Palace, Longao wouldn't have dared to act rashly. Longao didn't know why, but when he was rushing towards the crystal coffin, the Chaos Palace, which hadn't moved at all, suddenly released a mysterious energy that blocked the crystal coffin's chaotic energy for him. In the blink of an eye. "Who are you?" His voice was extremely cold and emotionless. Smiling, Longao said, "My name is Longao. Come with me." "You dare." Not only Master Godly Mathematician, but the others were also a little confused. If this person came out of nowhere and took the white-clothed girl away, wouldn't it be a waste? Master Godly Mathematician and the others naturally knew what it meant if this person took the white-clothed girl away. If this person could obtain the chaotic energy, no one could be sure what would happen. They couldn't let this person go. The white-clothed girl nodded expressionlessly. In the next second, the huge crystal coffin disappeared with a whoosh and returned to the white-clothed girl's body. Holding the white-clothed girl's hand, Longao prepared to leave. He was very afraid of Master Godly Mathematician and the others, especially his identity, because Longao wasn't sure if his identity would be exposed. There was no doubt that he couldn't control the Chaos Palace. Who knew if the Chaos Palace would continue to help him hide his aura? "You want to leave?" Master Godly Mathematician sneered. His palm strike seemed weak, but it caused the faces of the onlookers to flicker, and they began to back up. In all the years that had passed, no one had ever seen Master God Diviner in action. It was hard to believe that the sovereign of the starry sky was so strong. Of all the people present, no one was a match for Master God Diviner. The palm energy was too fast. Even Longao could not be faster than the palm energy. Master God Diviner was different from the others. His seemingly casual palm strike had already sealed the surrounding space. Now, not only was Longao unable to use spatial teleportation, but he was also unable to step into the Primal Chaos Palace. They were in big trouble. Longao knew very well that he had underestimated Master Godly Mathematician's strength. He deserved to be called Master Godly Mathematician. He was far stronger than other masters of the starry sky. Get lost. At this moment, the white-clothed girl suddenly snorted and sent out a palm strike. Their palms collided. It was impossible for him to fight the God Diviner head-on. This was a well-known fact. After all, Master God Diviner was the #1 expert in the universe, and no one could stand up to him. But the result? The white-clothed girl's casual palm strike was even stronger than Master Godly Mathematician's. She didn't move at all, but Master Godly Mathematician retreated dozens of steps. Master God Diviner wasn't the only one who was shocked. Everyone else was completely stunned. The fact that the white-robed girl had been able to defeat Master God Diviner with a single move was enough to explain everything. Chaos Tablet. You've mastered the power of chaos. After hearing Master Godly Mathematician's words, the other 9 masters of the Starry Sky, Half-Step Masters, Starry Sky Immortals, and Peak Starry Sky Immortals were all stunned. They all knew what it meant for a Starry Sky ruler to master the power of chaos. None of the 12 masters of the Starry Sky, including Master Godly Mathematician, could truly master the power of chaos. Could it be that the white-clothed girl had obtained the original Chaos Tablet? It must be known that when the Primal Chaos Plane had suddenly descended, 12 Primal Chaos Stone Steels had appeared. To this day, no one knew that the 12 Primal Chaos Stone Steels had been obtained by Longao. Everyone only knew that the 12 Primal Chaos Stone Steels were scattered throughout the Primal Chaos Plane, and no one had been able to obtain them. If there were no surprises, then the white-clothed girl should have obtained one of the Chaos Tablets and obtained the power of chaos. Such strength was enough to put her above Master Godly Mathematician and the others. However, Master God Diviner and the others weren't angry at all. Instead, they were overjoyed. They knew that if they could capture this white-robed girl, they would be able to learn how to control the power of primal chaos. If that was the case, then they would be able to get what they wanted. If the white-clothed girl was awake, no one would dare to attack her, including Master Godly Mathematician. However, the white-clothed girl had an empty expression on her face. This was the best opportunity to deal with the white-clothed girl. For the power of chaos, Master Godly Mathematician and the others wouldn't choose to give up. However, if they were alone and the white-clothed girl started a massacre, no one would be able to leave alive. This was the terror of a starry sky ruler who had mastered the power of chaos. Let's attack together. If we obtain the method to master the power of chaos, we will share it. If it were anyone else, the other masters of the starry sky wouldn't be able to wait for Master Godly Mathematician's death. Only the power of chaos was something that they had devoured. Once they obtained the method to master the power of chaos, it would only be beneficial for them. Without the slightest hesitation, the other 9 masters of the starry sky attacked at the same time. Not only that, but the 9 half-step masters of the starry sky also didn't fall behind. A total of 19 super experts, based on the white-clothed girl's current state, would be difficult to deal with. Longao took a step forward and arrived in front of the white-clothed girl. Although he already knew that the white-clothed girl was a master of the starry sky and had mastered the power of chaos, her current situation was very special. 1 against 19. Not to mention the current Longao. Even if Longao had devoured the Chaos Tablets and become a starry sky ruler, he might not be able to defeat 19 people. Chapter 2500. The white-robed girl's eyes were empty. She had only struck out in a moment of desperation. At this moment, the white-robed girl was like a zombie right now. Looking at the situation, Longao was exasperated as well. There was no way Longao could step into the Chaos Hall against the combined forces of 19 powerful beings. If this were to carry on, he would be dead for sure. Life and death. Boom, boom, boom. The God Diviner and the others were way too fast. Furthermore, they were attacking from all directions. Due to his carelessness, Longao was hit consecutively. Spitting out fresh blood, his face turned pale. If it were anyone else, they would have died long ago under such a horrifying attack. Legend of the universe? The other party was just a legend of the universe? If the other party was a ruler of the universe, or even a half-step ruler of the universe, they would still be able to accept it. But the other party was just a mere legend of the universe. How could he survive the combined attacks of 19 of them? If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they would have found it hard to believe. But even so, the 19 of them did not choose to give up. And it wasn't just 19 of them. More and more people joined the battle. At a glance, it was as though they were an army of thousands against Longao alone, fighting against countless people by himself. Even if Longao had 3 heads and 6 arms, he believed that he would still die without a doubt. Longao was very clear in his heart. If it was him in the past, he would have definitely died this time. However, the Primal Chaos Seal had turned into a Primal Chaos 9-colored lotus and reproduced 9 lives. After completely fusing together, he was almost immortal. But even so, he couldn't fall into the hands of these people. Otherwise, things would get really troublesome. What should he do? Longao retreated continuously. If he were alone, he might have had a chance to escape. But the situation was different now. There was still the white-robed girl beside him. If he were to dodge, he would definitely implicate the white-robed girl. Even if the white-robed girl was a ruler of the universe and had mastered the power of chaos, she was clearly not in her right mind right now. At the most helpless moment, the white-robed girl would not attack at all. That was the key. And it was because of that that the surrounding people dared to attack him and the white-robed girl so brazenly. If the white-robed girl was in her right mind, would they still dare to attack her? Even the God Diviner would not dare to attack her so casually, let alone ordinary people. The current situation. Longao could not use any of his ultimate skills. He could not even use the Chaos Axe because these were his signature items. Once he used them, his identity would definitely be exposed. It was the passive of the passive. If he relaxed even a little bit, he would be consigned to eternal damnation. Unless he could deal with the Primal Chaos Rock or enter the Primal Chaos Spring, it was almost impossible to grasp the Primal Chaos Force within the tablet. Yidugu nodded, and the father and son immediately left. Of course, the others knew what the father and son meant by leaving. The other 8 universe rulers also did not linger and immediately dispersed. Father, if we go after them now, won't the marvelous mathematician and the others be dissatisfied? Bai Hua was very worried. After all, the strength of the 10 universe rulers was there for all to see. If they angered the 10 universe rulers, they would have to bear the consequences. How could Bai Jing not know about Bai Hua's worries? However, the primal chaos force was too important for him. If he could obtain it, he would be able to surpass the universe rulers. At that time, he would be the sole ruler of the vast starry sky. The white-clothed girl's strength was enough to prove everything. Even a casual move from her was not something the marvelous mathematician could resist. Thinking of this, Bai Jing sneered and said, "Find them. No matter what, you have to find the traces of these 2 people." Not only Bai Jing, but the other 8 half-step universe rulers also did not choose to give up. 9 great starry sky empires, countless starry sky empires, plus the 10 universe rulers, the vast starry sky suddenly changed. Chapter 2501. Carrying the white-robed girl, Longao sprinted madly, his speed rising to the limit. Only after confirming that no one was chasing them did Longao let out a long sigh of relief. As for the Primal Chaos Palace, that was where Longao was the most oppressed. Before, when Master God Diviner and the others had locked onto him, it had been very difficult for him to find a chance to enter. But then, when Longao had left with the white-robed girl, he had already found a chance to enter the Primal Chaos Palace. But the result had shocked him. He had no problem entering the Primal Chaos Palace. Only the white-robed girl had been unable to enter. What was going on? He couldn't figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. "What's your name?" The white-robed girl still hadn't woken up. Her eyes were empty, as though she had no consciousness. However, Longao was certain that this white-robed girl definitely had a primal chaos tablet within her body, and that she had already mastered the primal chaos energy within it. In other words, the white-robed girl in front of him was stronger than Master God Diviner and the others. She was the true #1 expert in the universe. But no matter how strong she was, given the white-robed girl's current situation, it was all nonsense. Longao naturally knew that if Master God Diviner had locked onto their position, then the white-robed girl would most likely be in trouble. To be able to control the primal chaos energy within the primal chaos tablet, one could imagine how important the white-robed girl was to Master God Diviner and the others. No matter what happened, they couldn't let Master God Diviner and the others find the white-robed girl. Could it be that Longao didn't have any selfish motives? That was impossible, because Longao had his own selfish motives as well, and that was the attributeless primal chaos tablet he had devoured. Longao was also extremely certain that even if he could completely refine the primal chaos tablet, he would at most become a ruler of the universe. To control the primal chaos energy within the tablet was virtually impossible. If he could borrow the white-robed girl's power to control the primal chaos tablet, that would be a very good thing for him. The white-robed girl didn't answer. Her eyes were still empty, and she stared coldly at Longao. It was quite depressing. Longao didn't know what was going on with this white-clothed girl. Since she had already grasped the power of chaos within the Chaos Stone Tablet, under normal circumstances, there should be no one in the vast starry skies that was a match for this white-clothed girl. Not even Master God Diviner could stand up to it, let alone anyone else. This was the strength of the white-clothed girl. That was indeed the case. Longao couldn't figure out who could make the girl in white look like this. Could it be because of the primal Chaos Stone Tablets? None of the 12 rulers of the stars, including Master God Diviner, had been able to successfully control the primal chaos power within the Chaos Steels. Only the white-robed young woman had succeeded. Other than this possibility, Longao couldn't think of any other possibility. Seeing that the girl in white didn't answer, Longao had no other choice but to give up. The vast starry sky was boundless. Ever since the crystal coffin and the white-clothed girl had appeared, the entire universe had been shaken. Moreover, a mysterious person had appeared. He was only a Star Realm legend, but he had been able to disappear right under the noses of Star Realm rulers and half-step Star Realm rulers. It completely shocked the vast starry sky. Besides this, countless people throughout the vast starry sky, including the 10 Star Realm rulers, the 9 great starry sky empires, and countless other empires, were frantically searching for traces of the white-clothed girl and the mysterious expert. However, in the vast sea of people, trying to find them was like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It was almost impossible. Even so, no one was willing to give up. The reason was simple. Everyone knew that the white-clothed girl wasn't just a Star Realm ruler. She had also mastered the primal chaos power within the Chaos Steels. If they could find her, they might be able to become a Star Realm ruler, even a supreme existence above the other Star Realm rulers. If the white-clothed girl was at her peak, no one would dare to act rashly. Even the 10 Star Realm rulers and Master God Diviner wouldn't dare to act rashly. But the current situation was completely different. The white-clothed girl wasn't in a clear state of mind and would only occasionally act. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to deal with her. Countless people were searching the vast starry sky for traces of the white-clothed girl and the mysterious expert, conducting a carpet search. Most importantly, 10 Star Realm rulers and 9 half-step Star Realm rulers were involved in this search. It was obvious what this meant. Longao had already guessed that countless people in the vast starry sky would take action. The white-clothed girl's allure was too great. If these people chose to give up so easily, they wouldn't be these people. Longao took the white-clothed girl into a low-level plane. It was a very ordinary low-level plane, and a very secretive one. Even so, Longao knew very well that no matter how secretive the plane was, it would be discovered eventually. If that was the case, it would be very difficult for him to resist the joint attack of so many people. However, Longao already had a countermeasure. Even if he couldn't take the white-clothed girl into the Primal Chaos Hall, as long as he was willing, he could casually find a hidden place in the plane. No one, not even Master God Diviner, would be able to lock onto his position. On this point, Longao was still confident. Moreover, there was also the white-clothed girl. If Master God Diviner could grasp the primal chaos power within the Primal Chaos Tablet, then it would be a different story. He would definitely be able to lock onto their position. But now, the situation was completely different. Longao opened up an extremely hidden underground cave residence in the plane. He guarded the white-clothed girl at all times. He did not leave her side at all because he did not know when the white-clothed girl would leave. With the white-clothed girl's current situation, once she left, he was afraid that it would not bode well for her. Longao looked at the white-clothed girl in front of him. He was also very vigilant because he did not know when the white-clothed girl in front of him would make a move. The white-clothed girl in front of him had defeated the God Diviner with just one move. If this kind of move was used on him, would he be able to withstand it? Without a doubt, although Longao was confident in himself, he couldn't do anything about the white-clothed girl. The white-clothed girl sat quietly on the stone bench, looking at Longao with empty eyes. At this moment, the white-clothed girl suddenly smiled. It was an indifferent smile, which was very strange. What was going on? Longao was a little confused by the white-clothed girl's sudden smile. He didn't know what was going on with the white-clothed girl, but even so, Longao didn't dare to move. He didn't know if the white-clothed girl would act. In the end, Longao was still very afraid of the white-clothed girl. Not to mention Longao, even Master God Diviner was afraid of the white-clothed girl, because the white-clothed girl's strength was enough to sweep through the universe. Chapter 2502. What's your name? Longao was a little shocked to see the girl in white suddenly ask for his name. Could it be that the girl in white had regained her consciousness? After taking a closer look, Longao still believed that the girl in white had not regained her consciousness. What was going on? Why would the girl in white ask for his name out of the blue? However, Longao still replied with a smile. My name is Longao. What about you? Songlin. There was a loud boom. As soon as the two words Songlin were uttered, Longao's mind exploded with a buzz. If not for his good luck, he believed that just this alone would have been enough to take his life. What was going on? Longao was a little dumbfounded. He took 3 steps back and looked at the girl in white in front of him in shock. Of course, he knew that the 2 words the girl in white had just said, Songlin, was her name. In that case, Longao could not figure out why this would happen when the girl in white said her name. I like the aura on your body very much. You have to protect me well. As she spoke, the girl in white's eyes, which had just regained consciousness, suddenly became empty. What did this mean? Longao did not understand. Even if he wanted to continue asking, it was not possible. Songlin? 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 For some reason, Longao had an intuition that the identity of the girl in white in front of him was definitely not simple. Not to mention her strength, just her name alone was enough to deter him. He even knew very well that just the name of the girl in white was enough to disperse his primordial spirit. It was too terrifying. What was the background of the girl in white? Longao did not stay in the cave all the time. Instead, he left with the girl in white and inquired about Songlin everywhere. Regardless, he had not been in the vast starry sky for too long. He did not know the name Songlin at all. But the result? After inquiring for a few months, he still did not find out anything about Songlin. She was too mysterious. In the end, Longao had no choice but to bring Songlin back to the Soaring Dragon Empire. As soon as he returned, Longao went to look for Xiling. Xiling was the Swordwell Starry Sky Dominator and had lived for countless years. He believed that no one could compare with him in the vast starry sky. Longao, what happened? Xiling didn't know anything about the crystal coffin and the white-clothed girl because the entire Soaring Dragon Empire was sealed off. Longao didn't hide anything and told him everything that had happened. Xiling was shocked when she heard that. She stared at the woman in white. She had never thought that the woman before her was not only the ruler of a galaxy, but she had even grasped chaotic force. In that case, even if he became a ruler of the universe, he wouldn't be a match for the girl in white. Looking at Xiling's expression, Longao knew that even Xiling didn't know the identity of the girl in white. As expected, shaking her head helplessly, Xiling said helplessly, Longao, I know what you mean. According to what you just said, the girl in white almost shattered your primordial spirit just by saying her name. With such strength, I'm afraid that even if I grasped the chaotic force in the chaotic stone tablet, I might not be a match for her. With regards to this point, Longao had already thought of it. Just her name alone had almost shattered his primordial spirit. Such strength was indeed terrifying. If he hadn't experienced it himself, he would have found it hard to believe that there was such a super existence in the vast starry sky. It was unbelievable. Xiling, you don't have the slightest impression of Songlin? Shaking her head. Longao, I've never heard anything about Songlin. To be honest, with the white-clothed girl's strength, she's definitely not a nameless person. Logically speaking, I should know about her. If Xiling knew, then the clairvoyant master and the others would know as well. If that was the case, would Songlin still be alive? Songlin's identity was still a mystery. If even Xiling and the clairvoyant master didn't know, then no one else would. It was depressing. Longao, what are you going to do now? How could Longao not know what Xiling meant? He asked, Xiling, what do you think I should do? Longao, I know you want to rely on this person to obtain the chaotic force. But now that things have happened, everyone in the vast starry sky, including the clairvoyant master, won't let this matter rest. Once this matter is revealed to be your doing, then, at this point, Violet's spirit did not continue. But the meaning of her words was very clear. Xiling, I have full confidence that even the clairvoyant master and the others can't know about this. It's easier said than done for them to lock onto my location. Longao was not a fool. Of course, he knew very well that the marvelous mathematician and the others must have thought of him first because of the crystal coffin and the white-clothed girl. In the entire vast starry sky, it was rare for a starry sky legend to disappear under the noses of countless powerhouses. In fact, it was almost impossible. It was just that the clairvoyant master wasn't fully confident and wouldn't come looking for him for the time being. Longao, are you worried that the clairvoyant master will come looking for you? Longao nodded. That's right. According to my guess, if nothing unexpected happens, the clairvoyant master will come looking for me in less than 3 months. Xiling was very worried. She naturally knew about Longao's current situation. As long as he took one wrong step, he would be consigned to eternal damnation. Just as Xiling was about to say something, Longao said, Xiling, I know you're worried, but I can't be passive. I have to take the initiative. I came back this time to ask you to help me take care of Tsonglin. As for me, I'll go to the martial heaven continent. That way, the clairvoyant master won't have any other ideas. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Longao naturally knew that the current situation was very unfavorable for him. If he didn't go to the Tianwu continent, then the divine mathematician would definitely begin to calculate him. As the saying goes, it's better to be safe than sorry. If the divine mathematician were to calculate the location of his empire, then he would be in big trouble. Longao naturally wasn't afraid of falling out with the clairvoyant master. In any case, he had the primal chaos hall. However, the current situation was a bit special. Other than protecting Tsonglin, he also had to protect the empire. If the clairvoyant master managed to calculate that he was the culprit, then the clairvoyant master would definitely attack him. If that happened, then let alone the white-robed woman, even his empire would suffer a calamity. Now wasn't the time to fall out with the clairvoyant master. If the person who obtained the primal chaos tablet in his empire could become the ruler of the starry sky, then the situation would be completely different. Chapter 2503. It was all because of the primal chaos 9-colored lotus. If the primal chaos seal hadn't transformed into the primal chaos 9-colored lotus, Master God Diviner would definitely have been able to lock onto him. It was truly a blessing in disguise. With Xiling taking care of the white-robed girl, Longao was at ease. After leaving the soaring dragon plane, Longao didn't hesitate at all. He immediately headed for the martial heaven continent. The martial heaven continent was only a middle-grade plane, but no one dared to look down on it. That was because it had a ruler of the starry sky overseeing it. The martial heaven continent. In the outer sea, within the crystal palace, Master God Diviner was a bit surprised by Longao's sudden appearance. The way he saw it, the legend of the starry sky that had suddenly appeared was very likely Longao. If it was Longao, would Longao still dare to come? Master God Diviner was a bit depressed. He had devoured the primal chaos tablet and become the ruler of the starry sky, but there were still people he couldn't divine. Longao was one of them. In the past, he had been able to divine a bit, but for some reason, in the past few decades, he hadn't been able to divine Longao's identity. What was going on? He couldn't figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. However, Master God Diviner wasn't too shocked. He had already known that Longao wasn't an ordinary person. He just hadn't expected Longao to grow so quickly. Longao, why have you come this time? Longao nodded. He had come to prove that what had happened had nothing to do with him. Senior, I came this time because I heard that a crystal coffin and a white-robed girl appeared. Is that true? That's right. Not only is he the ruler of the starry sky, but he also controls the primal chaos energy within the primal chaos tablet. If we can find him, I'll definitely be able to divine the primal chaos tablet's primal chaos energy. Master God Diviner was completely confident in that. As for his suspicions about Longao, they were completely gone. First of all, as far as Master God Diviner was concerned, even if Longao was special, there was no way that a legendary of the starry sky would be able to stand up to him and the other sovereigns of the starry sky. Secondly, if the previous incident was the doing of Longao, then unless there was something wrong with his brain, Longao would definitely not walk into the trap. If it wasn't Longao, who else could it be? Master God Diviner was also extremely depressed. Even he could not deduce the culprit. As for the white-clothed girl, it was even more impossible. After all, the white-clothed girl was the ruler of the starry skies who controlled the chaotic force. Who exactly was the other party? If he could fully grasp the primal chaos energy within the tablet, he would definitely be able to deduce it. Mastering the power of primal chaos was the key. Otherwise, it would be difficult for him to find traces of the two of them in the vast starry sky. Senior, could it be that even with your divination ability, you are unable to deduce their tracks? Master God Diviner nodded helplessly. Sighing deeply, Master God Diviner said helplessly, "If I'm not mistaken, the primal chaos tablet the white-clothed girl devoured must have been one of the 12 scattered throughout the starry sky." Longao laughed inwardly, unperturbed. He had acquired all 12 of the Chaos Stone Steels in the Chaos Plane, and only a few people knew about it. Not even Master God Diviner knew about it. I don't know what method the white-clothed girl used. Not only was she able to devour the tablets in such a short time, but she was also able to grasp the power of primal chaos. Of course, Master God Diviner didn't know that the primal chaos tablet the white-clothed girl had devoured wasn't one of the 12 from before. Everyone knew that there were only 12 primal chaos tablets in the vast starry sky. However, Longao knew full well that there weren't only 12 primal chaos tablets in the starry sky. Even the 12 from before weren't the limit. According to Longao's conjecture, who knew how many primal chaos tablets there were in the starry sky? Not to mention anything else, just the primal chaos plane alone, including himself and the white-clothed girl, had a total of 14 primal chaos tablets. Although the white-clothed girl has successfully grasped the power of primal chaos within the primal chaos tablet, she might have suffered a backlash from the power of primal chaos. Otherwise, she would be number 1 in the entire starry sky. Even now, the white-clothed girl was still number 1. Before, Song Lin had only casually used a single move to force Master God Diviner back. Such strength was enough to shake the entire starry sky. And this was when Song Lin's mind wasn't clear. If she was, then let alone Master God Diviner, even if all the powerhouses joined forces, they still wouldn't be her match. This was without a doubt. Longao, are you willing to help me lock onto the white-clothed girl and this person's position? This again. Longao couldn't understand why Master God Diviner was always looking for him, as if there was nothing he couldn't do. It was like this before, and it was still like this now. Senior, forgive me for speaking bluntly, but if even you can't deduce their location, how can anyone else? I know my own limits. I have no way of locking onto their position. Even if there was a way, Longao knew that he couldn't do it. Master God Diviner wasn't angry at all about this, because he also knew that with Longao's current strength, there was no way he could help him. Instead, he directly told him that this matter was related to Longao. Could it be that he was overthinking things? Smiling, Master God Diviner said, "I'm forcing you." Chapter 2504. After leaving the Crystal Palace, Longao left the Martial Heaven continent. Longao was very depressed about his cultivation base. Even now, he was still unable to truly control the Primal Chaos Palace. If he couldn't control the Primal Chaos Palace, then he wouldn't be able to control its mysterious energy. Longao was very clear that it was because he had devoured the primal Chaos Palace's mysterious energy that he had broken through twice so quickly to reach his current realm. If he hadn't devoured that mysterious energy, would he have been able to reach the Starry Sky Legend realm? What should he do? He couldn't think of anything. Even now, Longao couldn't figure out what had happened to him. Why had he been unable to break through for so long? The Starry Sky Immortal Realm was the limit. The Outer Sea, the Crystal Palace. As soon as Longao left, Yidugu appeared. Father, do you really believe that what happened before wasn't Longao's doing? Yidugu didn't know whether his father believed it or not, but in any case, he absolutely didn't. In his opinion, in the entire Starry Sky, other than Longao, there was no one else capable of such a thing. A Starry Sky Legend. Longao's cultivation base had also reached the Starry Sky Legend realm. However, the God Diviner shook his head. It shouldn't be Longao. Yidugu seemed to want to say something, but the God Diviner cut him off. Let's stop here. It definitely isn't Longao's doing. What we need to do now is lock onto their tracks as quickly as possible. What the God Diviner feared the most was that the white-robed girl had fallen into the hands of a half-step Starry Sky ruler. Once that happened, the consequences would be unimaginable. That was especially true of the person who had saved the white-robed girl. Even if that person was only a Starry Sky Legend, he wouldn't believe that someone who could save the white-robed girl from their hands didn't have any power. The God Diviner even thought that this person might not be a Starry Sky Legend, but a Starry Sky ruler. Seeing that his father didn't want to talk about Longao, Yidugu didn't continue to pursue the matter. Father, even you can't calculate their tracks. This matter is a bit difficult. How could the God Diviner not know this? The longer he delayed, the worse it would be for him. Father, why don't we join forces with the other rulers of the Starry Sky, including the 9 half-step rulers of the Starry Sky, the Peak Rat Race, and the Peak Dragon Race? Master God Diviner shook his head. We can't do that. The girl in white and the mysterious man are variables. If we join forces with others, we might lose the girl in white. The white-clothed girl was determined to win. No matter what happened, he had to control the white-clothed girl. Father, if we don't join forces with the others, we will be in a very passive position if the girl in white is taken away by others. Even the clairvoyant couldn't make Songlin stay, let alone others. Xiling, we can only search for Songlin secretly. We can't do it openly. If the clairvoyant finds out, we'll be in big trouble. Xiling didn't say much, but she felt very guilty. Of course, she knew what Songlin meant. If Songlin was here, whether it was Longao, herself, or others, they might be able to obtain the chaos power in the Chaos Stone Tablet. However, with Songlin's departure, all of this became impossible. Longao seemed to be able to see the guilt in Xiling's heart. He just smiled and didn't say anything, because any comforting words would be useless at this time. Longao, I know what you're worried about. Just as you said, we can't openly search for Songlin's traces. We can only choose to search in secret. However, it's almost impossible to find Songlin in the vast starry sky. Longao knew what Xiling said, but he was a little unwilling to give up just like that. Songlin was too important, and it would determine whether he could master the chaos power. Not only that, but since the first time he saw Songlin, Longao had an inexplicable feeling. He couldn't describe it, but it was very special. He was also very curious. The girl in white attacked everyone, including the clairvoyant, but not him. It was really a little special. Chapter 2505. Under such circumstances, he could only choose to give up. Of course, Longao was unwilling to give up because Songlin was too important to him. But the current situation was very special. No one knew where Songlin had gone. Trying to find Songlin in the vast starry sky was like looking for a needle in a haystack. It was almost impossible. Most importantly, if he forced himself to search, the consequences would be unimaginable if he was discovered by the clairvoyant master and the others. Longao, are you ready to give up? He nodded. Longao said helplessly, Xiling, I believe you know the current situation better than I do. I can't move. A single move would affect the whole body. Again, Longao was not worried about himself, but the empire and family behind him. Not only that, Longao also understood that if something belonged to him, it would belong to him no matter what. If it did not belong to him, then no matter how hard he tried, it would not belong to him. Xiling knew that the current situation was very unfavorable for Longao, but he was unwilling to give up so easily. Xiling, I'm going out for a walk. Xiling nodded and turned to go back. Longao was still a little unwilling to leave the soaring dragon plane. He hoped that he would be lucky enough to meet Songlin. Rumors about the crystal coffin and the white-clothed girl were everywhere in the vast starry sky. The more the rumors spread, the more mysterious they became. So far, no one had been able to locate the white-clothed girl and the mysterious man. Not to mention ordinary starry sky cultivators, even 10 starry sky rulers and 9 half-starry sky rulers could not locate them. No one believed it. But the entire starry sky was in a frenzy because everyone knew very well that if they could find the white-clothed girl, it was very likely that they would surpass the starry sky ruler. Such a temptation was absolutely powerful. Although the white-clothed girl was a starry sky ruler who had mastered the power of chaos, she was now in a state of confusion. Occasionally, she would make a move. She searched frantically and searched every nook and cranny. But what was the result? The white-clothed girl and the mysterious man seemed to have evaporated into thin air, completely disappearing from the vast starry sky. You are Longao? Just as he was wandering around to see if his luck was good, a voice suddenly rang out. Looking at the young woman who had suddenly appeared in front of him, Longao seemed quite surprised. He had never thought that a woman would come looking for him. This girl wasn't simple. She was dressed in yellow clothes and had a pretty face. The girl in front of him could only be described with 8 words. She was a beauty that outshone the moon and put the flowers to shame. She was devastatingly beautiful. That's right. And who are you? Longao was very curious. He didn't know the identity of the girl in front of him. The starry sky was immortal. Longao could clearly sense that the girl in front of him was a starry sky immortal realm cultivator, and she looked no more than 25 years old. Such cultivation talent was something even he could only look up to. But you have to know, the reason why he was able to achieve what he had today was not only because of his life and death experiences, but also because of the mysterious power within the Chaos Palace. But what about the young lady before him? If the girl really relied on her talent to reach her current strength, then her talent and strength were too terrifying. You can call me Yunqian. I have 2 questions for you, and I hope you can answer me truthfully. This girl in front of him was quite interesting. She was incomparably arrogant the moment she appeared, as though she was an empress. Longao didn't fall for such tricks. Longao didn't know that the girl in front of him wasn't simple. Since young, no one dared to go against her. Why should I answer you truthfully? Who are you to me? And who am I to you? What a joke. If you don't have anything else, then forgive me for not accompanying you. Goodbye. You dare. Without waiting for Yunqian to finish her words, Longao continued, Goodbye. Yunqian was infuriated. However, for some reason, she suddenly burst out laughing. Laughing? Longao was very curious. He turned around and looked at the girl in front of him. This person was quite interesting. She was incomparably arrogant and furious just a moment ago, but now, she was laughing. Longao, I don't have any ill intentions. I just want to ask you 2 things. I'll leave immediately after I get what I want. I won't disturb you. How about it? Longao didn't say anything. It was a tacit agreement. He could clearly sense that the girl in front of him didn't have any murderous intent towards him. Otherwise, he would have attacked earlier. Rather than looking for trouble in the future, he wanted to hear what the girl wanted to ask him. No matter what, he didn't know Yunqian. They hadn't even met before. Smiling, Yunqian said, The first thing I want to ask is whether you were the one behind the crystal coffin and the girl in white. Huh. Hearing Yunqian's words, Longao was surprised. He didn't know anything about Yunqian, but Yunqian seemed to know him very well. If that was the case, he seemed to be in a passive position. Longao, you don't have to think too much. I don't know you and I believe that you don't know me. I only heard about you from the outside world. I have to admit that you are a legend. According to the legends I heard about you, I guess that you were the one behind the previous incident. What a smart girl. Longao certainly knew that he and Yunxian didn't know each other. Based on the legends she heard about him, she was able to deduce that he was the one behind the crystal coffin and the girl in white. Therefore, he could almost say that the girl in front of him was definitely not simple. She could be said to be very powerful. Thus, Longao became very vigilant. Seeing that Longao didn't speak, Yunxian smiled and continued, Longao, you don't have to worry. It seems that my guess was right. But don't worry, if I wanted to leak this matter, I wouldn't have come to you. I'm just curious. I want to see what kind of person the legendary monster Longao is. Would Longao believe her? Longao didn't know why, but he always felt that the girl in front of him wasn't lying. If that was the case, then he really couldn't figure out the girl's thoughts. What did Yunxian mean by doing this? He couldn't figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. Miss Yunxian, what do you mean? Longao, I just said that I don't mean anything else. I'm just curious. What kind of existence is the person who can disturb the vast starry sky? Besides being a little handsome, you don't seem to be very strong. After hearing Yunxian's words, Longao was speechless to the extreme. He was simply speechless. Seeing that Longao didn't speak again, Yunxian laughed again and said, well, the second thing I want to know is, how about I be your confidant? Chapter 2506. Confidant? Longao certainly knew what it meant to have a confidant. It was precisely because of this. Longao never thought that the girl in front of him, the so-called Yunxian, would say such a thing. Was she out of her mind? Yunxian, are you out of your mind? PFFF, Yunxian was not angry at all. Instead, she laughed. Without the slightest care, Yunxian smiled and said, Longao, looking at the entire vast starry sky, I'm afraid there's no one else who can reach your level at your age. Longao didn't say anything, because he was very clear on one principle, and that was that there was always someone better than you, and there was always someone better than you. I, Yunxian, only have one wish in my life, and that is to marry an unparalleled hero. You meet my requirements. It was the first time he heard such a reason. There were so many unparalleled heroes. Could it be that she could just casually find someone to marry? It was really unheard of. Longao could almost say that the girl in front of him was either out of her mind or had nothing better to do. If he continued to dawdle with the girl, then he would be out of his mind. He turned around and left without the slightest hesitation. But would Yunxian choose to give up so easily? It was definitely impossible. Spatial teleportation? Longao thought that with his speed, he could easily get rid of the girl. But in the end, no matter how he used spatial teleportation, he could not get rid of Yunxian. Even if the other party was a starry sky immortal, Longao had full confidence that his speed could definitely beat a peak starry sky immortal, let alone a starry sky immortal. What was going on? Spatial teleportation? Looking at Yunxian also using spatial teleportation, Longao was completely stunned. In the vast starry sky, there were probably only a few people who could use spatial teleportation. He never thought that Yunxian could actually use spatial teleportation. It was really an incredible thing. If so, it was almost impossible for him to get rid of Yunxian. Until now, he still did not know who Yunxian was and why she was following him around like a ghost who had been wronged. He was helpless to the extreme. He stopped abruptly. Looking at the young lady in front of him, Longao smiled bitterly and said helplessly, Yunxian, we don't know each other. Why do you have to force me? He couldn't figure out what was going on. With Yunxian's appearance, talent, and strength, she could find anyone she wanted. Why did she have to find him? Towards himself, Longao still had self-awareness. It was impossible for something like this to happen just by relying on his charm alone. Longao, to tell you the truth, I've only heard rumors about you before. I don't know much about you, but after meeting you this time, I realized that I fell in love with you at first sight. It was love at first sight again. Longao was a little dumbfounded. He couldn't figure it out and said, Yunxian, my temper isn't very good. You'd better not follow me. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. Heartless? Yun Qian just smiled. She didn't put Longao's threat in her eyes. Her strength was there for all to see. Longao didn't believe it. Without any warning, he used his finger as a sword and a sword chi instantly shot out. He didn't want to kill Yun Qian at all. Longao could clearly sense that Yun Qian didn't have any killing intent towards him. Space cracks began to appear around them, and they were compressing crazily. Under normal circumstances, things that others couldn't do didn't mean that Longao couldn't do it. With Longao's mastery of space, it wasn't difficult for him to kill an immortal realm expert. She wasn't surprised at all because everyone in the vast space knew that Longao could not only break open space cracks, but he could also compress space cracks. However, hearing about it was one thing and seeing it was another. Yun Qian was very clear that even her father couldn't do it. It was hard to imagine what ability Longao used. Longao, how did you do it? Without the slightest fear, Longao could sense that Yun Qian in front of him must be very powerful. It seemed that Yun Qian's identity wasn't simple. Could it be that Yun Qian came from one of the 9 great star empires? If she really came from one of the 9 great star empires, then even if he and Yun Qian couldn't be enemies, they definitely couldn't be friends. Not wanting to care about Yun Qian, Longao turned and left. However, the result was the same. Yun Qian didn't choose to give up and followed Longao. Wherever he went, Yun Qian followed like a shadow. Under such circumstances, Longao didn't dare to casually return to the empire. Because until now, he still didn't know Yun Qian's purpose. Whether it was good or bad, he didn't know. It was better to be careful. If the empire's whereabouts were known, then the 9 great star empires wouldn't let it go. With his current strength, it wasn't time to confront the 9 great star empires. Yun Qian, where did you come from? Guess? Guess your sister. When Longao heard Yun Qian asking him to guess, he was depressed to the extreme. Because how could he guess Yun Qian's identity? Unless the divine mathematician came, maybe he could calculate Yun Qian's true identity. Longao, you have a grudge against the 9 great star empires. If you marry me, I can ask my family to help you deal with the 9 great star empires. What do you think? Deal with the 9 great star empires? Yun Qian's words had a hidden meaning. According to her words, wasn't she telling him that the family behind Yun Qian was very powerful? Otherwise, Yun Qian wouldn't be so arrogant. She actually wanted to fight against the 9 great star empires. Thinking about it everywhere, in the vast starry sky, which family could compete with the 9 great star empires? Unless it was one of the 5 major races, but it seemed a bit ridiculous. In addition to the other 5 major races, Longao really couldn't think of any other family in the vast starry sky that could compete with the 9 great starry sky empire. No matter what, among the peak of the human race, the 9 great starry sky empire were invincible. No one dared to provoke them, except for himself. Not to mention the peak starry sky immortal realm existence of the 9 great star empires. Just the 9 half-step starry sky dominators were enough to deter the entire starry sky. If that was the case, then could the family behind Yun Qian also have a half-step starry sky dominator? 9 great secret realms. Longao certainly didn't believe that there were only 9 great secret realms in the vast starry sky. Miaoling, alone had already devoured the black boulder. If she succeeded in refining it, then Miaoling, would definitely reach the half-step starry sky dominator realm. According to this situation, there must be other half-step starry sky dominators in the vast starry sky. They were just hidden, and no one knew about it. If that was the case, then the family behind Yun Qian must be extremely powerful. Chapter 2507. The more Yun Qian acted this way, the more uncertain Longao felt. Longao, you don't like me? Longao felt extremely helpless as he watched Yun Qian continue to pester him. It wasn't a matter of whether he liked her or not. He couldn't possibly fall in love with every woman he met. Women were the most unreasonable people in the world. Trying to reason with a woman was like playing the lute to a cow. Longao didn't run away immediately because Yun Qian's speed was simply too fast. She had even mastered space teleportation. Even if he wanted to shake her off, it was almost impossible. Seeing that Longao had stopped running, Yunxian only smiled and didn't say anything. In the distance, a middle-aged man who looked extremely similar to Yunxian was looking calmly at his daughter and Longao in the distance. Behind the middle-aged man were two elders, one in black and one in white. They didn't look harmonious at all. Clan leader, could it be that the young lady has taken a liking to this man? The two of them were shocked because the young lady's personality and arrogance were obvious to all. In all these years, the young lady had never looked at any man in the face other than her father and the two of them. They didn't know why. The young lady was very interested in the legendary Longao and had even declared that she liked Longao very much. It was love at first sight. What was this? The most important thing was that the clan had a clear rule that members of the clan couldn't become partners with outsiders. The two of them wanted to see what the clan leader in front of them meant. Everyone in the clan knew that the clan leader doted on his daughter very much. It could be said that the clan leader would try his best to satisfy whatever the young lady wanted. He had never gone against the young lady's wishes. Yunlu smiled calmly and said, "Our clan has been sealed off for so many years. It's time for us to show ourselves." Just as the two of them were about to say something, Yunlu waved his hand and said without hesitation, "As long as he has the ability, I'll marry Qian to him. However, if he doesn't have the right, then don't blame me when the time comes." The two of them, who were still feeling depressed, were overjoyed when they heard the clan leader's words. If that was the case, it would be impossible for Longao to marry the young lady. "Patriarch, what should we do now? Let Qian play for a while. We still have important things to do." Although they were extremely unwilling in their hearts, the two of them did not dare to say anything and could only leave with Yunlu. From beginning to end, Longao had no idea that the three of them had appeared. Just when Longao and Yunxian were entangled, the search for the white-clothed girl and the crystal coffin in the vast starry sky had reached a fever pitch. After searching for so long, there was still no trace of the white-clothed girl or the crystal coffin. Everyone was worried about one thing. That was the mysterious person who took the girl in white away. He didn't know who that person was. If the mysterious person had also devoured the Chaos Stone tablet, then by borrowing the white-clothed girl's secret, wouldn't he be able to obtain the chaos energy within the Chaos Stone tablet? A starry sky ruler without primal chaos power and a starry sky ruler with primal chaos power were two completely different concepts. They weren't on the same level. In particular, the 10 starry sky rulers and 9 half-step starry sky rulers were impatient to find the white-clothed girl and the crystal coffin. Once the white-clothed girl regained her consciousness, or the mysterious person obtained primal chaos power, the first people they would deal with would be the 10 starry sky rulers, and then the 9 half-step starry sky rulers. Because of this, everyone was going crazy. If it had been something else, the 9 half-step starry sky rulers would not have dared to compete with the 10 starry sky rulers. Only the white-clothed girl and the crystal coffin were two completely different concepts. The 9 half-step starry sky rulers had great selfish motives. If the 9 of them could obtain primal chaos power, then perhaps they could use the secret realm to not only become a starry sky ruler, but even surpass the 10 starry sky rulers. But the result? The white-clothed girl and the mysterious person seemed to have vanished from the face of the earth. Even a carpet search would be useless. Tianwu Continent. Outer Sea. Crystal Palace. Master God Diviner cursed angrily. His calculations had failed again, and he was feeling extremely depressed. "Father, you failed again?" Seeing his father fail again, Yi Dugu was also very depressed. He had never imagined that even his father would be unable to calculate the white-clothed girl and the mysterious person's location. That wasn't all. His father could not even calculate the location of the mysterious person. Under normal circumstances, the other party was just a small figure in the starry sky. With his father's ability to calculate, how could he not be able to calculate it? Until now, Yi Dugu still couldn't figure out how the mysterious person who had taken the white-clothed girl with him had done it with the strength of a starry sky legend. It was hard to imagine that a mere starry sky legend could leave under the noses of so many super experts. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it. Yidugu had clearly sensed that with his strength, he could destroy the mysterious person in a matter of minutes. However, the mysterious person was too strange. Let alone him, even his father was helpless. Dugu, during this period of time, I have divined 35 times, but I have not been able to find out the whereabouts of the two people. I can't even figure out the identity of the mysterious man. The God Diviner was very clear that even if he had mastered the Divine Calculation Tablet's primal chaos power, he wouldn't be able to calculate everything in the world, including people and things. However, he could calculate the identity of the mysterious person who had taken the white-clothed girl away. No matter how he calculated, he couldn't calculate the identity of the mysterious person. Yidugu, of course, knew his father's helplessness. He said, "Father, whether you believe it or not, I still feel that the mysterious person who took the white-clothed girl and the crystal coffin was no one else but the Longao. Because in the vast universe, other than the Longao, I can't think of a second person who could do this. A starry sky legend fighting against countless experts and forcing his way out in the end." Until now, Yidugu still believed in his judgment. He believed that the person who had taken the white-clothed girl and the crystal coffin was the Longao he hated the most. But what about the God Diviner? The God Diviner shook his head and said, "Although I can't calculate the identity of the Longao, I can say with certainty that the person who took the white-clothed girl and the crystal coffin was not the Longao, but someone else." Yidugu was depressed to the extreme. He couldn't understand why his father didn't believe his guess. "Father." Before Yidugu could finish, the God Diviner said, "There's no need to worry about this. If it's not the Longao, then it's not the Longao." You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.